What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? Welcome back to another week of Power Rankings. The Phillies are looking great. The Giants are looking good. My Red Sox stink. Let's get to it. And what's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? 162 people to start things off. That's what I like to see. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all doing all right. Hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're ready for another week coming up. I'm going to tell you right now, I had myself a busy week. I am extremely tired this week. I just went back to school this past week. If you don't know, I am a teacher. Yeah, we had pre-planning this past week. And I got to say, adjusting back to work life Monday through Friday, I'm having a tough time. And so I got school starting this week. So we're going to keep chugging along over here. But as for you guys, I hope you guys are all doing well. But yeah, if I make any mistakes or anything tonight, I apologize. I am just giving you a warning. I am very tired after a long week. So forgive me if I make any mistakes tonight. But welcome to Power Rankings. We're gonna go through each team tonight. We're gonna see where they rank on my Power Rankings. We'll take a look at all the numbers, take a look at all the stats, and yeah. So we've had another fun week of baseball. A lot of teams are starting to heat up. A lot of teams are starting to digress. I will talk about one certain team here in a little bit. I might flip out tonight. I hope I can keep myself calm. I'm just saying, as a Red Sox fan, I'm not in a peachy mood. But for all you other guys out there, we're gonna talk about all the other teams out there for you. So, excuse me, I needed a little espresso for tonight to get me through, again, a tired week, or I'm tired this week. So, anyway, enough of me rambling. But if you are new, hit that subscribe button for me. If you are new to the channel, we're talking baseball here all the time. Hit that like button for me, everyone. That's going to help this get out there for the YouTube algorithm. Hit that bell button so you can see all the notifications for all my videos. Hit the share button for me. That way we can get some more people in here. And yeah, I think that's it. But alrighty, I'm just going to dive right into the Power Rankings tonight. I'm not really going to talk about anything else. There's not really anything newsworthy other than what's going on with every team and so on. But yeah, so let's get to it here. Here we go, sharing the screen. I'm actually seeing a couple of super chats coming in. I saw Kyle Duffield, Springer Dinger, Jays are on fire. The Blue Jays are on fire. Where are they going to land on my Power Rankings? We'll have to wait and see. I just had Dylan Alex move the Mets to 20. My team doesn't want to win. We'll talk about the Mets. Hey, I'm right there with you, my friend. My Red Sox don't want to win lately either. So we'll talk about all the teams here tonight. So let's get to it here. Let me get the music on for you guys. Let's go look at, and there is that super chat from Dylan Alex. Thank you so much. And, oh, hold on. I'm lagging here. Is it reading the super chat? Everyone, give me a thumbs up in the chat if it read the super chat out loud. But let's get to this here. All right, so you're saying no, it didn't read it out loud. I put it on to the to where to read the message. I guess it wasn't working. I heard it on my end, but I guess we're not hearing it here. So I'm seeing another super chat coming in from Caleb. Are the Reds making the playoffs? We'll talk about the Reds here shortly. But here were last week's power rankings. So, again, if you are new, Caleb, thank you so much for that $4.99 super chat. Really appreciate that, my friend. But yeah, we'll get to that super chat here, or I'll talk about the Reds here in a little bit. But here were the last week's power rankings. So for if you are new to the power rankings, we have A pluses, we have A's, B pluses, B's, C pluses, C's, D's, and F's. So, and then at the end, I will go through my numbers 1 through 10. So we'll save that for the end. I'll go through each team here. So, but yeah, here were last week's power rankings in case you missed it for last week, and just in case you are new, if you need a heads up on how I do the power rankings here. And then again, for next week, I will do numbers 1 through 10. These were last week's 1 through 10, just to give you an idea of what they look like for last week as well. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into it. So as always, I always go through each team from bottom to the top. So I'm going to not really waste any time here with the bottom 4. Pittsburgh, Texas, Baltimore, Arizona. I mean, we're going to put that pretty much all the F teams last week. They're pretty much going to stay for me. So last week we had the Diamondbacks, we had the Rangers, the Pirates, the Twins, and the Orioles. So let's go ahead. Let's slide the Diamondbacks here. Also, I found a new layout. Look at all the fresh logos here. I was thinking, you know, we had some of these old logos on here, like the Brewers old logo, the Padres old logo. I had to freshen it up a little bit, and I found this one. So whoever out there made this tier list, thank you so much for using some nice fresh logos here. So Diamondbacks going to the Fs, Pirates to the Fs. We had the Rangers, the Orioles, we have the Rangers, and then we had the Twins. Let's actually take a look. How are the Twins doing lately? Yeah, I mean, same old for the Twins. We might have to move the Miami Marlins down into the F tier. I mean, they're not playing great lately. So let's go ahead. We're going to throw the Marlins in there as well. Last week I had the Marlins as a D. We're moving them down into the Fs. They're just playing very poorly. So I'm not going to get too much into these teams. I mean, they are what they are. You know, it's not really too much. We're mainly looking at the young players on these teams for right now, and that's pretty much that. So let's see. Who's the other team I'm missing? Did I put the Twins? No, I didn't put the Twins. Let's go Twins. Alrighty, so for the Ds, we actually might have a bit of a bump here. I'm going to take a look. So in the Ds, we had the Nationals, we had the Royals, the Rockies, we had the Marlins last week, we had the Cubs, and the Tigers. So let's go ahead. Let's just go throw those teams in there as well. I mean, for the Nationals, I mean, hey, yeah. I mean, who knows? All these teams could end up making it to the Fs, but for now, we'll just keep them there. So Kansas City, Nationals, Rockies, and the Cubs. One team, though, I'm starting to get a bit of I'm starting to feel the Tigers here a little bit. I'm kind of maybe wanting to bump them up into the C's. I mean, they're playing a lot better as of late. They're 5-5 in their last 10. 5-5 in their last 10. But hey, they took 2 out of 3 from my Red Sox this week. They look pretty good. But let's get to that here in a second. So in the D's, we're going to go Rockies. We're going to go Kansas City. We're going to go Nationals. Oh, Susan Baker with a $9.99 super chat. You're the best. Hope this gets the Reds higher. Hey, we're going to take a look at the Reds here in a second. The Reds have been playing great baseball lately. So I was taking a look earlier at some of the guys on their team. Some of these guys are really stepping up for the Reds right now. They're looking pretty good. So I really appreciate that, Susan Baker, $9.99 super chat. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So who else? We had the Cubs, and we had okay, so we moved the Marlins down. So the Tigers, I feel like I'm not quite ready to put the Tigers there just yet. I would like for the Tigers to at least be a 500 team. I mean, they have been playing a lot better lately. You know, they're currently, I mean, I know they're still, 6 games under 500 here, 54-60, but you got to give them a lot of credit, man. They've been playing just some great baseball lately. For the Tigers to move up into the C rank, I mean, that would be just huge. I mean, considering where this team was, they've just been playing great baseball. Like I said, took 2 out of 3 against my Red Sox this past week, showing some offense and showing some pitching. I mean, just really good lately. I mean, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Indians. So a bit of an up and down week. And if we actually go back into the week prior, it looked like they lose 2 out of 3. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Orioles. But they took 2 out of 3 against the Twins. They split with the Orioles. I apologize. But the Tigers, as of late, they're getting close. They're getting really close to being a C team for me. I'm really considering it. But for right now, I am going to keep them at a D. I really hope they make it to the C's. I'm not quite ready to put them at a C just yet. I would like for them to at least be a couple of games closer to 500. Not quite there for me yet, though. But the Tigers, really keep an eye out for them, man. It's a young team. It's an exciting team. Man, I really think this Tigers team next year, look out for them, man. I mean, especially in the offseason, they're going to have some money to spend. Man, if they can bring in a free agent or two with some of that young talent that's coming up. That's why I thought maybe they could have gone for a free agent, this past off season. Kind of like how they did with Jolie Rodriguez, back in 2004 when they signed him. It was a losing team, but they brought on like this, a Hall of Fame catcher, and everyone's thinking, Jolie Rodriguez to the Tigers, but then they ended up bringing, Maglio Ordonez onto the team, Kenny Rogers onto the team. And then the Tigers ended up making it to a World Series eventually. So that's kind of how I feel like the Tigers are right now. They're just not quite there right now. So hopefully for this offseason, they end up making a couple of moves. I think it's going to be a really fun team next year. Also, let me get that music on for you guys. Got a little lo-fi music on for you there. Screen Beats, if you ever need some free music if you guys make YouTube videos out there. Screen Beats. It's free, copyright free, made by Harris Heller. So props to that guy, man. He makes a ton of copyright-free music. So if you do make YouTube videos out there, go look at some of his stuff. It's pretty good. So anyway, let's move on. But yeah, for the Tigers, going to keep them at a D for right now, just like I had them last week. But they're close. They're so close to being a C for me. So close. Alrighty, now let's move into the next teams here. So up next, we have Cleveland, 54 and 55. I mean, I'm basically going to keep them there. There's not really too much going on with Cleveland as of right now. It is what it is. But we'll take a look here. They did win today. We were just talking about the Tigers. So Bradley Zimmer coming in with a big time home run today for them. So let's just take a look at the past week. Let me actually turn the volume down on that just a little bit. Alrighty, so this past week, losing 3 out of 4 to the Blue Jays, then they're taking 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. So, I guess the Tigers team that has been playing better as of late, so good for them. Oh, we got a super chat coming in. Heems with a $10. Diehard Brewers fan here. I hope you don't take the Giants series impact. We have, let me read that again. Diehard Brewers fan here. I hope you don't take the Giants series impact. We have 4 of our better bullpen arms on COVID. Yeah, they do have some guys on COVID. There's been a lot of guys going on the COVID list lately. It feels like the whole Yankee team is going on the COVID list lately. We watch out for Jake Coonan. So we'll talk about the Brewers here in a second. So, but yeah, unfortunately for all these teams out there, these guys, man, got a lot of guys going on the COVID list lately. So hopefully this all starts to calm down. But yeah, I mean, it just stinks to, see like Anthony Rizzo, who's playing so well, for the Yankees lately since coming aboard and having to go on the COVID list. That stinks. JD Martinez on my Red Sox has been missing some time. So he came back today and provided, an impact bat. You could see the difference in the lineup today. I'll get to my Red Sox here in a second, but, JD Martinez, a guy like that, it's tough to lose a guy like that. It's tough to lose a guy like an Anthony Rizzo. It's tough to lose, some key arms in the bullpen, especially when they're not really injured. They're just, they're going on the COVID list. So, hopefully these guys hopefully the spikes and all the, positives and whatnot start to go down. So, but I appreciate you, my friend Heems, with the $10 super chat. I'll talk about the Brewers here in a little bit. I love the Brewers, man. They're a great team this year. So, But we'll take a look at where they fall on the power rankings here shortly. Here we go. But yeah, for the Indians, it is what it is. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries this year. It's a 500 team. It's not a bad team by any means, but it's not a great team. If we go take a look at some of these guys, I do want to give the Indians some love because, they have some good guys on this team. So, real quick, let me just pull up how what kind of numbers they've been doing this past week. So, guys like Ahmed Rosario, he's been hitting pretty well this week. Oscar Mercado. Jose Ramirez, kind of, whatever. They did bring in a Miles Straw. He's this past week with them hitting 292. So I did like that addition for them. Franmil Reyes has had a pretty good year this year. So, it is what it is. And if we go, take a look at the pitching. Let's click all here. Let's go click on the Indians. Soon to be the Guardians. I'm still probably going to say the Indians for the next 3 years. Cal Quantrill, I actually want to give him some love. He had a good start this past week, 7 innings. Didn't give up any runs. He had a good amount of strikeouts there. So Cal Quantrill had a pretty good week this past week. And then we have Eli Morgan this past week. Did pretty good. The XFIP was a little high, though. Tristan McKenzie had a 7-inning start this past week. Did pretty good. So, but for the Indians, they're just not quite there. I'm excited to see what they're going to do this offseason. So, but, for the Indians, it's an up and down team. So, a C for right now. Moving on, here we go. St. Louis. So, St. Louis, I feel like this is what we're going to see with the Cardinals. I don't know, unless they got another run in them. I mean, we still got a lot of baseball left, but this Cardinals team, it just seems to be, it is what it is with this Cardinals team. They lack pitching depth. Sure, they brought in, John Lester. Sure, they brought in a J.A. Happ, but that's not going to turn around your season. You're having injuries. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go take a look at what they did this past week. Actually, no, never mind. I read that wrong. So, Dylan Carlson has actually been doing pretty good this year. So, let's take a look. You got swept by the Braves this past week. You did win 2 out of 3 against the Royals, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about this Cardinals team. It's just kind of If we take a look at... Let me pull up the Cardinals. Where are we at here? Here we go. So for the Cardinals, as of right now, Nolan Arenado's had a pretty good year for them this year. Nothing crazy by any means. I would like to see that average be better. I'd like to see the on base be better. But, it's kind of he's been fine this year. Tyler O'Neill, I've actually really liked the season Tyler O'Neill's been having. Paul Goldschmidt, he's been fine. Harrison Bader's been fine. They've really just lacked pitching. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. They've lacked pitching depth. They've lost, Flaherty recently. It is what it is with this Cardinals team. It's an up and down team. Bullpen guy, bullpen's been kind of Alex Reyes has been kind of struggling lately. So I don't know. The Cardinals, you hate to see it. You would think this was going to be a better team this year, but they've just been a 500 team, an up and down week. So going to keep the Cardinals at a C, just like I had them last week. So that is that for the Cardinals. Taking a look at the Angels. So last week I had them as a C as well. You got pummeled by the Dodgers today. Did they actually? I think they lost 2 out of 3. How about Albert Pujols today hitting a big-time home run against his old team? Reed Detmers, he has been pretty shaky. He's been pretty shaky in the last couple of starts. He was doing really well in the minor leagues, but I don't know, man. He's just been just not great. But for the Angels this past week, so you did win 3 out of 4 against the Rangers, but then you lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. So I just don't think this Angels team... I don't know. I don't know what to say. I personally think with this Angels team, I don't know what it is, man. Every year, I feel like this is like beating a dead horse at this point, but every single year, they have just so much good talent. And don't even think of, I'm not even talking about Trout. I'm not even talking about, I am talking about them, but not just Trout, not just Ohtani. You always hear like, oh, the Angels are wasting these two. Well, how about Anthony Rendon? How about Justin Upton? There's some guys on this team that are pretty good. Anthony Rendon, what's going on with him? This is a guy who signed a big contract with the Angels, and what the heck is this guy doing? I don't know. Am I the only one that's kind of thinking, like, what's going on with Anthony Rendon? How is he even doing this year? I don't know. This Angels team is just so frustrating. I mean, of course, Ohtani has been so fun. You know, they've had good guys. They have a good offense this year. If we take a look at how they're doing real quick offensively, let's look at the team stats. You know, on the year, the Angels, where are they? They're not a good defensive team. That's definitely been something that's hampering them. But offensively, they're 7th overall. So, you know, I mean, the starting pitching hasn't been all that bad. The bullpen hasn't been terrible. But they're just a bad defensive team. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. They're just wasting so many of these guys. You know, again, Anthony Rendon, what has he been doing? He's hitting .240 on the year. He's missed a lot of games. He's been hurt. He's got a .329 on base. And that's crazy to see with an Anthony Rendon because this was a guy that was an on-base machine. He had an on-base percentage in the 400s, what it felt like, you know, years in a row, like 2 years, 3 years in a row. And he has just been, I don't know. Is he out for the season? Oh, he's out for the season. I didn't even hear about that. I mean, that's, oh my God. When did that happen? That happened a few days ago. So, he's been having a hip problem. Oh, well, I can definitely understand that. I've had surgery on my hip before, and when that nags, it's not good. But, I don't know. But he's just been completely ineffective since signing a monster deal. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with this Angels team. I feel like it's an organizational thing to me. I don't know. I guess they just should be better. They just should be a better team. There's no they don't have a lot of prospect depth. They don't have, I don't know. It's just, I don't know why. It's just not a winning team at all. I don't know what to say. But for the Angels, I had them as a C last week. I'm going to keep them as a C. You know, I mean, what else is there to say about that? So moving on, let's go talk about the Mets. Oh my God, the Mets. What is going on with this Mets team, man? What is going on with this team? Oh my God, it's just, oof. I don't know what to say. But let's go take a look. I mean, let's see how they've been doing this whole year. The offense has been the problem with the Mets all year. 20th overall in the offense. If we take a look, I did not click the right things here. So the team stats for starting pitching. I mean, the Mets have had good starting pitching, you know, but Degrom has been up and down with his injuries. You know, Stroman has been kind of, he's been, you know, the ERA looks good, but that FIP, it's almost a full run higher. Taijuan Walker, he's been struggling lately. Man, I don't know. You know, Carrasco came back. He's looked okay through a couple of starts. But this Mets team, man, they have just been struggling. It's crazy. This is another team where so much talent on this team, and they're a 500 team. They're 55-54. Let's take a look at what they did this past week. So, oh, man. I mean, you lost 3 out of 4 to the Marlins. You got swept by a pretty red-hot Phillies team, if we're being fair. I mean, this Phillies team's red-hot right now. I feel like any team that runs into the Phillies are going to have a lot of problems. But this Mets team, oh, they need that day off tomorrow. They need that day off. They had a really tough week. They won 1 game, you know, this week. Put us in a tier under F, I beg. Thanks. Yeah, Dylan Alex does not want to see his Mets pretty high on this list. So, I mean, they're definitely going to drop. And when you're having a week like you're having, and when you're playing like this, 2-8 in the last 10, 4 straight losses, I mean, your run differential has now dipped into the negatives. You are 29-30 against 500 teams, or teams above 500. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with the Mets. I want to take a look at how they've been doing this past week. Team stats. So this past week, the offense, and I think Javier Baez is down right now too. So the Mets this past week, you're 22nd in offense this past week. If we take a look at the starting pitching, 22nd in starting pitching this past week. And in the bullpen, which is, I think, a strength of the Mets, but they've been struggling this past week too. I mean, you're 18th. They're just struggling all across the board. So, I mean, Edwin Diaz gave up a big home run to Bryce Harper the other night, who's also been pretty hot. But everyone is just struggling right now, and it's tough to see. It's really tough to see, especially a team like this where they should be. I'm going to be honest. Like, I feel like they should be in a comfortable lead for the division at this point, and it is just completely slipped. It's completely slipped. And let me actually pull up the standings. Let me pull up the divisional standings. So the Mets, you are now 2.5 back in the division. So luckily, if we're going to look at the bright side here, it's only 2.5 games. You're going through a tough time right now. You have plenty of time. It's only, the second week of August? So you have time to get the ship righted. Degrom, he's going to come back eventually. I want to actually look what's going on with Degrom as of right now. What is the news on Jacob Degrom? So as of August 3rd, MRI in about 10 days, and if he's cleared to resume throwing at that time, he'll need to ramp back up. So in about 10 days, he's going to get an MRI. So that's about another week. I mean, at this point, you're not going to have him for August. I would think you're probably not going to have him for August, because by the time you have that MRI, and let's say everything is good to go, you're going to have to, go on a rehab assignment, get a couple of starts in you. But then what's going to happen then? What's going to happen after that? Are you going to have more elbow problems? And then if you're looking at the Mets rotation, let's say DeGrom goes down. What else do you have to play with here? So, you're basically looking at Stroman as your ace. You got, McGill, Walker, Carrasco, and Hill. So it's I don't know. When you lose a guy like a DeGrom, like a top of the rotation guy, that's pretty tough. So let me take a look at the Mets. What did these guys do this past week? Come on. So, all right. So McGill had a tough start. Oh, Dylan Alex with a super chat. It's one thing when you have 18 guys on injury reserve. I cannot talk. But when you play with no heart and just team laying runs with no response, you're pathetic. Yeah, it's kind of like how my Red Sox have been playing this past week. There's been some fight with the Red Sox, but they're just kind of. The offense struggles one day, then the offense is good the next day, but then the pitching struggles, starting pitching struggles, and then offense and starting pitching is good, but then the bullpen just completely goes down the tubes, and, it's like kind of, you just can't seem to figure it out. But for the Mets, they're just losing games in just so many different ways. But the starting pitching as of right now, you got a decent start from Hill this past week. Carrasco had an okay start. Stroman is basically your ace at this point. And then Taijuan Walker, he's been pretty... I don't know what's been going on with him lately. So, I don't know. And you got McGill, who's kind of just filling in. He's just not doing good. 8 runs in the last 2 starts. Good grief. So, this Mets rotation, it's looking a little suspect. I did like the Javier Baez move, but man, I know you got a starting pitcher along with that, but man, I feel like it would have been good to maybe go get a starting pitcher. I don't know. But then again, the market was tough and it was the prices were high. Jose Berrios, they probably wouldn't have been able to get a Jose Berrios. They didn't have a deep enough farm system like the Blue Jays had. So, this Mets team, it's not looking great. And yeah, of course, they've had their injuries as well. Let me go back to the Mets here. Let's go back to their injured reserves. Who do they have right now on the IL? So for pitchers, for position players, you still got Lindor, Guillermo, Peraza, Martinez. So I feel like Baez is day to day, right? I feel like I saw Was Baez day-to-day or no? Did I see something about, or was I looking at the wrong player? Oh, yeah, he is day-to-day. Yeah, that was today. Okay. Yeah. The hip. So I thought I saw that correctly. But, yeah, so now Baez is day-to-day. I mean, good grief, man. I mean, you still got so many good guys in this lineup. You still got so many good guys here. I think it's just a matter of they just need to find their groove. You got plenty of time to figure this out. It's, it stinks that they lost to Jacob Degrom. It really stinks. But what can you do? You got to keep chugging along. The thing with the Mets is where they're really showing some weakness right now is their minor league depth. They're just, that minor league depth right now is really kind of, it's showing because you don't really have any of these guys that are coming up. You don't have these guys that are able to kind of really fill in. There's not really anything there. They didn't have the minor league depth to go make a trade. They don't have these guys able to come up, and it's tough to see. But, it is what it is. Look at the pitching that they have here. Degrom, Lucchese's out for the year. Syndergaard. What's the latest with Syndergaard? Has he been throwing it all lately? He threw a bullpen session on Tuesday. 10 days ago, 11 days ago. So, hopefully they can get him back. We have another super chat, $9.99. My Phillies GM, Dombrowski, is a menace. He just turned this below 500 Phillies roster into the hottest team in baseball in one day. I don't know why I doubted him. Listen, Dave Dombrowski, I will say this. As a Red Sox fan, he made some great moves. The guy makes good moves. He did deplete our farm system, but that's what you have to do. They left it in the hands of Chaim Bloom to fix the farm system and to replenish that farm system. But for the Phillies, look at what they did. You got Kyle Gibson and Ian Kennedy. Kyle Gibson's been solid for them so far. I think they needed one more guy for the depth of the starting pitching. Ian Kennedy for the bullpen. Adding just these guys, it pushes guys up and down. And Ian Kennedy was a big move, I thought. I think that was a really good move for them. I think the Phillies that was a great trade for them. They had to give up a Spencer Howard, but for the team this year, it's really helping. And then you get, a Kyle Gibson for next year too, which is really good. So, yeah, it came at the cost of a Spencer Howard, but that move is paying off so far. So, I see Manuel Vargas coming in with another super chat here. Taijuan Walker misses the sticky stuff. I think some of these guys really miss the sticky stuff. Garrett Richards on my Red Sox, he's been able to figure it out a bit more lately, but he definitely misses the sticky stuff, that's for sure. So, but yeah, for the Mets right now, they're having a tough time. It's a tough time for the Mets. But as for my power rankings, you only won one game this past week. That's not going to get it done. For the Mets, they were a B+ last week. I got to slide them down. They've been looking really bad. I don't know, man. I think we got to slide them down. I'm thinking a C+ right now. I'm sliding them down to a C+. They're going to drop 2 tiers. You going from a B+ to a C+. I think they're just playing that bad right now. I think that's kind of where the Mets are for me. I still think it's a really good team. I think they're just struggling right now. I think they're going to turn it around. I believe in this Mets team. I do. I think they're going to turn it around eventually. There's that super chat from Manuel Vargas. Thank you so much for that. They're going to turn this around. I believe in the Mets. I think they just need to get some guys back. Just get a spark. Get a spark. There's a lot of time left. I think this team is too talented to just fall off the face of the planet. But I'll put them at a C+ right now. I'm actually seeing I'm seeing some B. I saw a B. I'm seeing a C. I see a D. I see an F. So you know what? We'll go in the middle. We'll go C+ for the Mets. I think that's fair. But the Mets do have time to turn this around. Only 2.5 back. You got to start playing some good baseball, though, because this Phillies team is red hot. The Braves are playing a lot better lately. So we will get to that here, or we'll get to these two teams here in a second. But for the Mets this week, they are moving down from a B+ to a C+. We will have to wait and see if they can get it turned around. So moving on. Here we go. Next up, division rival, the Atlanta Braves. They've been playing a lot better lately. It's about time. It's about time these Braves start to kick it into gear a little bit. What's been going on with this Braves team? So we were just looking at the East. They're 2 games back now. These teams here, they're not in it for the wild card. Forget about the wild card. King TE 23, as a Jays fan, I think Springer is underpaid. I mean, he came through in a big way today. I'm gonna get to that here in a second. I'm gonna get to that here, so hang tight for me. We're gonna talk about George Springer in a little bit and the Blue Jays. They're red hot. Man, I gotta say, it was tough to watch as a Red Sox fan this past weekend, but that Blue Jays team, they're starting to look pretty good. They're starting to kind of get it together, and it looks like they're ready for a run. So we are over 500 people in the chat. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. Thank you so much for coming out to talk some baseball tonight. Here we go. The Atlanta Braves, 57-55. It feels like forever since they've been above 500. So good for them for finally kicking into gear, winning today against the Nationals. So let's see what they did this past week. Alrighty. But I think this is a good time to bring up some numbers. Let's pull up the depth chart here. Atlanta. Okay. So Atlanta, as of right now, they are 13th in offense. They are in the negatives when it comes to the offense, but that has been better lately. They are 13th in starting pitching. And let's take a look at the bullpen. That is not the team stats. Here we go. For the bullpen, they're 11th in the bullpen. So, they're kind of right around the top 10 in all 3 of the major categories. And lately, the offense, like I said, has been better. They're 9th in offense this past week. They're 9th in starting pitching this past week. And the bullpen has been coming through. They are 9th in relief pitching. I didn't just look at the same thing, did I? No, they're 9th in starting pitching this past week. And they're 9th in the bullpen this past week. So, good for the Atlanta Braves. They are really kicking it into gear lately. So let me actually pull up here. Who are these guys that are stepping up for the Atlanta Braves on the offensive side? So that's not this past week. Come on, Fangraphs, you're killing me. Fangraphs, I love this website, but they just kill me sometimes. Where I have the dates put in, and then it just goes away. So this past week, hey, Jorge Soler, he's been awesome for them. 278 average this past week, 409 on base this past week. He's got a few home runs. He's driving in runs. Dansby Swanson's been stepping up. Jock Peterson has been awesome. Freddie Freeman has been turning it on. I mean, come on. These guys are really stepping up for Ronald Acuna Jr. It feels like they're almost rallying behind the fact that they lost Ronald Acuna Jr. It's like, where was this offense before? But now they brought in these guys. Look at the 2 guys that they brought in before the trade deadline, Soler and Jock Peterson, and look at the big weeks that they've been having. Even Austin Riley drove in a few runs this past week. So, hey, good for him, man. Good for him. Good for these guys. So, looking at the starting pitching for the Braves. Is it going to keep the same dates? Nope. Come on, Fangraphs. You got to fix that one. I hate that I have to put in the dates again. But this past week, the starting pitching, it looks like, these guys they stepped up this past week. Sure, Drew Smyly didn't really have a great day. Only got 4 innings. Kyle Muller, didn't even get out of the 5th inning there. So, but Touki Toussaint, man, 3.38 ERA this past week, so good for him. Charlie Morton had a good start this past week. Max Fried had himself a good start this past week. So the starting pitching has been really stepping up for the Atlanta Braves. And then if we take a look at the bullpen as well, for the Atlanta Braves bullpen this past week. So, hey, look at these guys. Matzek, Jackson, Richard Rodriguez is showing his worth already. I think that was good for the bullpen. I think they really needed another guy in that bullpen. I think Richard Rodriguez, I thought that was a perfect move, bringing him in. I really thought that was I think that was one of the better moves of the deadline. To me, the Braves needed a bullpen guy, and he was one of the best one out. He was one of the best guys out there. So good for him. That's definitely proving its worth right there. And, you're getting these other guys who've given up a couple of runs. But these guys at the back end, they've been really stepping up. So the Atlanta Braves, they're getting guys stepping up left and right. That's good to see. You love to see it. This Braves team is so talented. And the fact that they're just sitting here, playing 500 ball all year, I mean, there's no excuse for that. And hey, they made some good moves. I really like what the Braves did at the deadline or by the deadline. They made some really solid moves. They addressed needs all across the team. So good for the Atlanta Braves. And then this past week, you swept the Cardinals. You took 2 out of 3 against the Nationals. Jack has just subscribed. Welcome, Jack. Thank you. So also, if anyone is new, think about hitting that subscribe button for me. We're trying to get to 13,000 subscribers. But hey, the Braves, a good week for them, finally stepping it up this past week. So last week, I had the Braves as a C+, and you know what? The Braves right now, we're going to bump them up to a B. I think that is well-deserved, so they're moving up to a B. If they keep trending in this direction, we can definitely see them as a B+. So for now, the Braves have been playing solid baseball this past week, 7-3 in their last 10, so we're going to bump them up to a B. Definitely could be a B+ by next week's Power Rankings as well. We got a super chat coming in from SoundFX09. You guys are really stepping up with the super chats tonight. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Braves are a B. Cool. We agreed. 1-5-6 this past week, and they're finally over 500. Pitching is improving. Yes. Offense is explosive. Yes. Defense is solid. And yes, defense. That's another underrated aspect. NL East is looking like a 2-horse race. No objections if C. Nope. SoundFX, I'm with you. I'm thinking of B. I appreciate it, my friend. You always give some good takes here on the channel. So thank you so much for that $10 super chat. You are awesome, my friend. Thank you. So moving on here. So again, the Braves get a B for me. So that is a bump up from a C+ last week. Let's move on. Here we go. The Seattle Mariners. Once again, it's kind of like this up and down team. The Mariners 59-54. They did win today against the Yankees, who have been playing a lot better as of late, but in the end, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees this series. So let's go take a look at what they did this past week. While that's loading, gotta get a sip. Nothing like a bit of espresso at 9:30 at night. How the heck am I gonna sleep tonight? But here we go for the Mariners. Or they lost 3 out of 4 to the Yankees. I apologize. It was a 4-game series. So you did win 2 out of 3 against a really good Rays team, but then you stumbled against the Yankees. So an up and down week. I'm glad they at least finished the week. A 2-0 win today for the Mariners. So that's a good way to go into an off day tomorrow. A lot of teams are off tomorrow. So I'm seeing another super chat. Jared Cole with a $5 super chat. Let's see. Oh, there's that Sound FX one. Thank you again for that, my friend. $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. And then Jared Cole, yours is going to come in here in a second. But let's go real quick. Before I get to that super chat, Jared, when that pops up, I'll take a look at it. But for the Mariners this past week, let me actually go to the box score on that. So I believe, was that Kikuchi that pitched today? Box score. Yeah, Kikuchi. So, hey, he pitched good today. I mean, again, granted, the Yankees didn't have a red-hot Anthony Rizzo. He's been huge for them. But, hey, good pitching all across the board from the Mariners. So, for the Mariners right now, let me pull up the Mariners on the depth chart here. Seattle. So, we got a lot of people subscribing. I really appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for subscribing. We're on our way to 13,000 subscribers. So, hey, I love the Toro move. He has been huge for the Mariners lately. I've been loving that move. I think that's great. Again, you guys know how much I liked what the Mariners did by the deadline. Yeah, it kind of, stunk that, you got rid of a Graveman, but you brought in a Diego Castillo. I thought that was a genius move. I mean, you got an Abraham Toro, for a Kendall Graveman, and then you turn around and you go get a Diego Castillo. I thought that was a genius move. So Jared Cole, really, here is that super chat. So let me go look at that one real quick. Who is the worst division? I mean, I think right now you got to think the NL East, right? I mean, you got to think the NL East. It's just, I mean, the team here that's in the league. They're 6 games over 500, and that team's in first place. I would have to say the NL East. It's been, or I mean, you could say the Central. I mean, besides the White Sox, all these teams are basically out of it. So, I don't know. I think you can make an argument for actually the AL Central to be the worst division because there's only one team. It's just one team. What do you do? I mean, there's no competition in this division at all. The Indians are 10 games back in second place. They're not even in the hunt for a wild card spot. I know the NL East, I know you got teams, like the Mets are struggling. The Braves are 2 over 500. The Mets are 6 over 500. I mean, that's not great, but at least these teams do have winning records. Whereas in the Central, the only team with a winning record are the White Sox. So I'll be honest, my vote goes to the AL Central. I think that's the worst division in baseball right now. So that's just my opinion. I think it's okay to say the NL East too is the worst division. I wouldn't say the NL Central because at least you got the Brewers and the Reds doing something. Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say the AL Central, and then I would say the East. That's just my opinion. I think the AL Central is the worst. Thank you so much for that. We have another super chat coming in from. We got a couple more super chats. I'll get to those here in a second. Robbie, please be gentle with my Mariners. The Mariners, at least with the Yankees this past weekend, they did, those are scrappy losses, they were close games. So I'll give them that. But the Yankees really took advantage of their field. So I think the Mariners, I'm excited to see what they do this coming week. But let's get to the Mariners here. Where am I going to put them on the power rankings for this week? So last week, I had the Mariners as a B. I actually might keep them at a B for right now because at least you did take 2 out of 3 against the Rays in the beginning of the week. And, if you take a look at the Mariners this past week, I mean, again, they did at least end the week on a winning note. You got a great pitching performance from Kikuchi and the rest of the bullpen. But, you had a 1-run loss to the Yankees on Friday, a 1-run loss to the Yankees on Saturday. You lost by 2 on Thursday. So, at least they're close games. So, losses are losses at the end of the day. But at least they made them close. And you did take 2 out of 3 against the Rays. You got good pitching in that series. So, for the Mariners, I think I'm going to keep them at a B. I'm not ready to drop them down. I mean, they got a good week coming up here where you should have 3 pretty easy games against the Rangers. So let's see if they can take care of business against those guys. And then you got a tough series with the Blue Jays next weekend. So the Mariners got a week here where they can really prove themselves. So for the Mariners, I'm going to keep them at a B. I think that's fair for now. I don't really see any reason to move them up. I don't really see any glaring reasons to move them down as of right now. So, Dylan Alex coming in, division with the most talent if everyone's healthy. Yeah, the NL East, very talented, very talented. So, there's a lot of talent there. Did I miss any super chats here? Oh, Evan Kramer. I'm so sorry. Evan Kramer. Game 2 of the Giants versus Brewers series, game of the year. We'll take a look at that game. Hey, I thought that was a pretty solid series this past weekend. That was a fun one. I can't wait to go talk about that here in a little bit. Evan, thank you so much for that $5 super chat. Dylan, yep, NL East. I mean, there's so much talent in that division. And then Brian Trujillo, Giants 30 games above 500, best team in baseball. We'll get to we'll get to the Giants here in a little bit. And they're playing some good baseball this year, man. So I really like the Giants this year. Let's see where they fall on my power rankings by the end of tonight's show. But here we go. Let's move on. So the Mariners, I'm going to keep them at a B for right now. Moving on, Philly. Here we go. This is a fun one this week. So 59-53. They've won 8 straight. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Philly last week was a C+. So, what? Oh, wait, hold on, Dylan. What are you saying here? That was a question. What do you think? I thought you were talking about the NL East. I'm sorry, Dylan. I mean, honestly, like if I would say the East. There's a lot of injuries in that division too. I mean, well, I don't know. Let me take a look real quick. If everyone's healthy, okay. Well, I would probably say the AL East. I'd have to say the AL East, honestly. I'm not trying to be, I hope that's not coming off as biased, but, just because my Red Sox are in that division. But I really think the AL East is probably overall the most talented division. I mean, you got 4 teams here who are, the Blue Jays in 4th place are 10 games over 500. I think that's fair to say. The AL East is, it's probably the most talented overall. I mean, you could say the NL West as well, but that's a 3-team race. So whereas the AL East, you got 4 teams there. So I think you could say the AL East, and then I would say the NL West. And honestly, the NL East too. I mean, there's a lot of talent in that division. There's a lot of talent in the NL East. I know, the Mets are struggling and whatnot, but the Nationals just recently had Scherzer and Turner, and they were a good team, and Schwarber too. They were a pretty good team at one point this season, and they just fell off. So that's what I would say. I would say the AL East, and then I would say the NL West overall. So, alrighty, let's go here. Let me get caught up with the chat. Did I miss any? Manuel Vargas, Phillies the best offense since July 1st. That offense has really kicked into gear. We're on the Phillies, so let's go talk about the Phillies. So they have really been putting it together lately. They've won 8 straight. So let's go talk about Philly. Overall, on the year, Philly, they're 15th in offense. But if we take a look at how they've been doing lately, they're 4th in offense this past week. So Philly's offense is really coming into gear. Bryce Harper has just been going nuts. If we take a look at Philly overall, Bryce Harper is really making a case for MVP in the National League, I think. And actually, I'm going to take a look at the leaders in the National League. So I believe Bryce Harper is in the top 3, maybe? No, not in the top 3. Well, you could say almost top 5 because Acuna's not in here anymore. But yeah, for the MVP in the National League, he did miss some time. These guys have a lot more games played than him. But, Harper, you also have to remember the voters. They're not going to look at really the advanced kind of stuff where they're going to look at the surface numbers, home runs, RBIs, batting average. They'll look at on base too. His on base has been really good. Actually, I think Harper, he ranks, that's what I meant. He ranks top 3 offensively as of right now because Acuna is hurt and he's out for the year. So you could say now Harper is in the top 3. And then who knows what's going to happen with Fernando Tatis Jr. if he's going to come back. I've been hearing stuff about him maybe coming and playing in the outfield. What's going on with that? But Bryce Harper, he's really having himself a good season for the Phillies. Good grief. He has been killing it lately. Absolutely killing it. Let me actually go pull up here Philly in the past week. He has really been stepping up. You love when Bryce Harper's red hot. You love it. But this past week, look at what he's doing. I don't know if it counted today, but going into today, 304. He had a few home runs this past week, 6 RBIs. He had a 407 on base, a 783 slugging. So Harper, he had a big home run against the Mets the other night too, late in the game. So that was cool to see. So Harper, man, he's making his claim for MVP in the National League. If he stays this hot, I don't see why he couldn't win it. Fernando Tatis Jr., who knows what's going to happen with him, health-wise. Max Muncy's out there too, so he's going to get some votes. But yeah, Harper, he's been fun to watch. But let's talk about the Phillies. Let's look elsewhere. Like I said, Kyle Gibson's been a really good move. I'll get to these Super Chats here in a second, everyone. That way I can just finish off with the Phillies here. But for the Phillies overall, they rank 14th in offense, 9th in starting pitching this year. And the bullpen has been a problem. It's 28th on the year, but they have been better, I believe, lately. 21st, this past week. They haven't lost any games. They just haven't really. You also have to remember Fangraphs. They do their wins above replacement a little different. They factor in the FIP and the XFIP. But they've been having the guys in the bullpen step up. And then Ian Kennedy, I want to take a look at what he's been doing this past week. So Ian Kennedy is their newest addition. I feel like he's been pretty good. Ian Kennedy, so he's pitched 3 1/3. Oh, no, he's actually given up a few runs. I take that back. Let me go to the game log. I feel like he had a good outing yesterday or today. I can't remember. Game log. So, okay, yeah, he pitched yesterday. So he pitched an inning yesterday, had a couple of strikeouts. So he did well there. he had a tough game against the Mets, gave up a run there. He did well. He did well on the 4th. So, yeah, he had a couple of bad outings when he first came to the Phillies, but it looks like he's settled down the last few games. So, Ian Kennedy, I think that was a good addition for the Phillies bullpen. But they've had other guys stepping up. Hector Neris, Archie Bradley has been good this past week. Hammer's been good this past week. Alvarado, sure, he's given up a couple of runs there. Matt Moore's been coming out of the bullpen. He pitched one game out of the bullpen, 4 innings out of the bullpen. So, they're having these, a couple of these guys are stepping up for the Phillies, and they need these guys to step up. That's been the big problem with the Phillies this year is the bullpen. I did like the addition of a Kyle Gibson because that's going to take some pressure off those top 3 guys. Zach Wheeler dealt today. Zach Wheeler with an amazing performance today. Let me actually go pull up the box score for that game. He pitched a heck of a game. Zach Wheeler, is he going to get the Cy Young? He could maybe get the Cy Young. Let me actually pull up here the leaders. Let me go pitching. Degrom has been the guy, but he's been hurt. So Wheeler, as of right now, he has the highest wins above replacement on Fangraphs. So he's going to have to look out for these other guys, Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff. So he's going to have to look out for those 2 guys. I think it's going to come down to these 3. Wheeler, Burns, and Woodruff. One other thing with Burns, too, he's missed a couple of starts this year. I don't know if that's going to factor in to the voters' decision at the end, but I feel like Zach Wheeler, he's really staking his claim on a Cy Young award. Could you imagine Zach Wheeler winning the Cy Young and then Bryce Harper maybe winning the MVP? But Zach Wheeler dealt today, man. Look at the game he had today. A complete game shutout against his old team. You love to see it. But Zach Wheeler today, he was awesome. Man, 11 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed. He only walked 1. What a game today for Zach Wheeler. Taijuan Walker actually pitched pretty good today. 6 innings, 3 runs. But he gave up 3 home runs. Taijuan Walker, you gotta kind of lower those home runs a little bit. But overall, he pitched a pretty good game despite 3 home runs given up. The bullpen, they did pretty good today. 2 innings from these guys. But in the end, Zach Wheeler just shut down the offense. So, yeah, that was a buzzsaw performance today for Zach Wheeler. But for the Phillies, last week, we had them at a C+. They've been red hot. And you know what? I'm going to bump them. I know I just bumped the Braves to a B, but the Phillies have been that hot. They have been that hot. I'm bumping them to a B+. They've won 8 straight games. They're going crazy. They're playing great baseball. I'm bumping them up to a B+. They're getting a bit of a bumpity bump, or a bit more of a bumpity bump than the Braves for me. So I'm going B+ for the Phillies as of right now. So great baseball for the Phillies. And you just love to see this team winning because there's talent on this team. There's not really much else to say. You got so much talent on this team. They should be winning, and it's good to see that they're finally winning. Did I miss any super chats? So, Jose Estrada. I saw one earlier for Manuel Vargas. Phillies had the best offense. So 4th best this past week, and one of the best offenses since July 1st. Jose Estrada, what team has the best offense and pitching? Well, the Astros have the best offense this year, and the best pitching, I believe, goes to the Brewers. Yeah, the Brewers have the best starting pitching, and the best bullpen as of right now goes to the Tampa Bay Rays. So that is that for them. Manuel Vargas, NL East is close because there's no sandbag teams. They battle each other in that East, man. That's why those teams are so up and down. Jacob Pitts, Phils need another week to prove themselves. So the Dodgers and Reds coming up, it will show whether they can hold their own against better teams. And that's actually a good point. Let me pull up the Phillies schedule here really quick. We're almost at 600 people in the chat. Wow. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Really appreciate that. So looking at the schedule for the Phillies, hey, let's see how long they can keep this win streak going. 8 straight wins. And but yeah, you got a big series against the Dodgers coming up. You got a big series against the Reds next weekend. So this is definitely a prove it kind of a week. You played your division rivals this past week, but now you're going to have to go out, or at least you're at home, so that's a good thing. So but you got a tough Dodgers team. You got a Reds team that's playing really well lately. So I agree, Jacob Pitts. Philly, I'm excited to see what they do this next week. Really excited to see. So, to be honest, I'm really excited to see if Bryce Harper can keep going. I love Bryce Harper, man. But here we go. Moving on. So, again, just recapping. Phillies, I have as a B+ last week I had him as a C+. Bump him up to a B+ this week. Here we go. Moving on. We have just mentioned the Cincinnati Reds. Here we go. 61-51. They are also red hot. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 5 straight. Last week, I had the Reds as a B. You know, I mean, they might be getting a bump here as well. We got to maybe have a few more B+ teams this week. So let's take a look at the Cincinnati Reds. They are 5 back in the Central right now. They're 2.5 back in the wild card. So the Cincinnati Reds, hey, taking care of business against a weak Pirates team. That's what you have to do against these teams. You got to win these. You got to win these games. These are winnable games. You got to win them. So, looking at the Reds this past week, so you split with the Twins and then a 4-game sweep with the Pirates. So, hey, you did what you were supposed to do. You should sweep that series. So, let's take a look at the numbers. So for the Reds on the year, Cincinnati is 12th in offense on the year. Starting pitching, they're actually 11th. I know a lot of people seem to think, you know, the starting pitching is maybe a little weak with the Reds. It's actually been pretty good this year. But Cincinnati in the bullpen, that has been a problem for Cincinnati. They're 26 on the year. But they made some additions. They brought in some guys. They brought in a Luis Sessa. They brought in a, Justin Wilson, who hasn't been, all that great. But they brought in another guy. I'm going blank on the name as of right now. But for Cincinnati, they're second in offense this past week. They have been killing it this past week in the offense. Like I said, you took care of business against the Pirates. For the starting pitching, Cincinnati was 5th this past week. And then for the bullpen, Cincinnati, like I said, they were on the year, they ranked 26, but this past week, Cincinnati 23rd this past week. So a little better than what they've been doing for the year. So the bullpen still seems to be a bit of an issue for the Cincinnati Reds, but overall, it hasn't been too much of a problem. They're going to have a week, this coming week where you got a makeup game against the Indians tomorrow. You got 3 games against the Braves on the road. This Braves team's been playing better lately. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you have the Phillies next weekend. So they got a pretty tough week ahead. So this is going to be another one of these prove-it kind of weeks for the Cincinnati Reds. So, again, the offense has been great. The starting pitching has been great. The bullpen seems like they're figuring it out a little bit still. And let me actually go take a recap of what they've been doing offensively. Let's take a look at what they've been doing with the starting pitching. So what have they been doing this past week? So Jonathan India has been awesome. Look at Jonathan India this past week. 429 average, a 500 on base, a 952 slugging. Over 5 games. He's got 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. Holy cow. Jesse Winker continues to be one of the better players in the game. Mike Moustakas is healthy. He's hitting well. 429 average this past week. Well, only a couple of games. Why did he only play 2 games this past week? What's going on with him? He was out of the lineup today, so I guess maybe they're easing him back in. So, I mean, even Shogo Akiyama. Shogo Akiyama, 5 games this past week, hitting 500 on the week, a 636 on base. Shogo Akiyama, I love it. What has he been doing this year? I feel like I haven't heard too much of him. He had a bit of a down year last year. I mean, overall in the year, he's not doing all that great. Hitting 219 on the year, but he's playing well this past week, so you like to see it. Eugenio Suarez, a couple of home runs this past week. Kyle Farmer driving in some runs this past week. So, hey, you love to see it. The offense is really stepping up. Let's take a look at the starting pitching. Starting pitching this past week, what did they do? So Vladimir Gutierrez had himself a pretty good start this past week. Sonny Gray, he got the win this past week, gave up a couple of runs there. Wade Miley had himself a good start this past week. Look at Luis Castillo with a good start. The starting pitching has been fantastic. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. But for the bullpen, they are going to have to really step up in that bullpen. Only 23rd this past week. What have they been doing? Here we go. So, all right. Lorenzen did good this past week. Sessa, man, he's been pretty solid for the most part since coming over. Hoffman, Wilson actually did pretty good this past week for them. Hey, they've had, so maybe they were that low because they've had two guys that really stunk it up this past week. Heath Hembury stunk this past week. Brad Brock stunk this past week. But other than that, they've actually been really good out of the bullpen besides these two guys. So while they may rank pretty low overall, Michael Givens, they got him. That was the guy I couldn't remember who the guy was. But Michael Givens has been doing good this past week. So that was an addition they had at the trade deadline. But hey, the Reds, you got to love it. And you got to love the fact that Luis Sessa, Justin Wilson, Michael Givens, these are guys that they brought in for the bullpen by the deadline, and they're all stepping up. You got to love it. So Cincinnati, they're looking really good. They're looking good across the board. So Cincinnati, they were a B last week. We're bumping Cincinnati up to a B+, right there with the Phillies. So good for the Cincinnati Reds. That's going to be a fun series with the Reds and the Phillies next weekend. I'm excited for that. So get your popcorn ready. Here we go. Moving on. Here we go. The Toronto Blue Jays. They've been playing good lately. They've been playing awesome lately. 60-50 on the year. Man, I'm gonna save my rant. I have a rant coming, man, because I was watching that game today, and I'll stay positive here. I'll keep the positivity here for you Blue Jays fans. They have been awesome. They've been awesome this past week. George Springer, what a moment for George Springer today. He came up big. This is a big moment for him. Again, I'm going to keep the negativity out of here. That's my Red Sox negativity. For the Blue Jays, we're staying positive. But take a look at what they did this past week. They played great baseball against my Red Sox this past weekend. You got to give it to the Blue Jays. There's a lot of talent. Even Vlad Jr. today. So what I liked about the Blue Jays in today's game was you had a couple of guys, what was it, the second inning or the third inning? I can't remember the inning exactly, but, over at second base, made a lazy throw. He made a good play to get the ball in the glove, but then he just made like this lazy, irresponsible throw that could have maybe went into the stands. And then Lourdes Gurriel Jr. out in left field. The guy, he bobbles the ball in left field, and he's just like lollygagging out there, getting the ball, and then Rafael Devers ended up scoring. And it was like, what the heck are these Blue Jays doing? Like, this defense is just garbage right now. But then you see Vlad Jr. make a diving play. Holy cow, that was a good play from him. Last year, you would have not have seen Vlad Jr. make that play. That dude lost like 30 pounds since last year, and this guy is looking... The agility just looks so much better with him. He made a diving catch. Good grief. So Vlad Jr., I love the fact that those two guys looked bad on defense, but then he stepped up when they needed it. So good on him for stepping up. But for the Blue Jays overall, you took 3 out of 4 against the Indians, and then you took 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox. That's winning baseball right there. Like I said, the Indians earlier, are a 500 team, but it's still a pretty good Indians team. Like, it's not like a bad team by any means. So to take 3 out of 4 against them, hey, good series. And then you take 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox, which, they're a talented team. I'll get to them here in a second, but hey, you got to love it. So overall on the year, Toronto, they rank second in offense. In the pitching, the starting pitching, Hyun-Jin Ryu, he didn't look very good today. He didn't look very good. Luckily, the bullpen really stepped up for them, but he didn't look very good today. So thank God they got a Jose Barrios at the deadline, but they're 19th in starting pitching. But just recently, I believe last week, they were like 23rd. So they had themselves some good starting pitching this past week. And then the bullpen... I feel like that bullpen is starting to come around. They're starting to get these guys really throwing some good innings lately. They're 25th overall on the year. But if we take a look at Toronto this past week, where were they this past week? Okay, they were 27th this past week. All right, so that's not that good. I don't know. I feel like I've been seeing the Blue Jays bullpen throw some pretty good innings this past week. But the starting pitching, they have had the best starting pitching this past week. That's why they have propelled from whatever it was, 24th on the year all the way to 19th. Look at the Toronto Blue Jays starting pitching. Robbie Ray had himself a good start the other day. I don't know what it is with the Red Sox, but they cannot hit Robbie Ray. But looking at the Blue Jays this past week, Hyun-Jin Ryu, he didn't have a great start today, but he had a good start in his last start. Robbie Ray pitched good this past week. Jose Barrios, he's been great. He was great for them. But Alek Manoah also pitched good against the Red Sox the other night. Stripling had himself a good start. So Steven Matz had himself a good start. Blue Jays starting pitching has been great. So good for them. They're really stepping up. But yeah, the offense is the offense. That's a dangerous offense. That's the only thing. This Blue Jays team, it's if the starting pitching and the bullpen do their jobs, I mean, this team is the sky is the limit for this team. That's how good this team can be. They just got to pitch. The offense is the offense. I mean, they were down 7-2 today and ended up winning that game. I mean, holy cow. I mean, it's a tough team to keep at bay. But for Toronto last week, and one more time, I just want to give, give credit to George Springer. He's missed a lot of time this past year. This season, but he stepped up today for them. That was a big moment for them. But last week, I had the Blue Jays as a B+. We're going up to an A for the Toronto Blue Jays. Absolutely. They're looking like one of the better teams in baseball right now. I don't see how they don't make it to an A on my list today, or on my power rankings. So Blue Jays, an A for me. They have a interesting week coming up. They're going on the road. They're going out west. So they got 4 games against the Angels this coming week. You have a doubleheader tomorrow. And then, hey, you're going against the Mariners next weekend. That Mariners team, they have shown to be a pretty tough team this year. So this will be an interesting week. It's always interesting when your team is on the East Coast and they go out west. So this will be a important week for the Blue Jays. But just to see if they can keep it going. Can they keep up the momentum? That was a big win today. I wouldn't be surprised to see them I wouldn't be surprised to see this team sweep the Angels and then even take at least 2 out of 3 against the Mariners. So they got an easy schedule this week, or in the next couple of weeks. You got 4 against the Angels, a pretty decent series against the Mariners. You got 2 against the Nationals next week. I mean, the Tigers are playing better lately, but I think the Blue Jays are clearly a better team than the Tigers. So you have some games here for the Blue Jays where you are just, you can really take advantage of the schedule. I mean, good grief. This is their time. This is the time for the Blue Jays. If they want to make a run for the division, this is it right here. So big week for the Blue Jays coming up. And then you got a big week the next week. Not like any crazy tough series by any means, but if you want to start getting some wins, these are the games. So, but here we go. Again, the Blue Jays I have as an A. So, moving on, we have the Yankees. This Yankees team has also been playing great baseball. Not surprised by any means. I thought the team was already talented before. I've mentioned this many times. But when they added a Rizzo and a Joey Gallo, 2 big left-handed bats, I mean, you're going to get better. You're going to get better. But the Yankees this past week, they had a good week. Good series against the Mariners this past weekend. Rizzo was huge. Unfortunately, he went on the COVID list. But, hey, you had a couple of big wins against the Orioles there. Offense really showed its firepower. And then what I liked about the Yankees, while the Mariners were very scrappy, against the Mariners or against the Yankees, they kept it close. The Yankees, in the end, they pulled out the close wins. They stepped up when they needed to. Good for the Yankees. You lost a close game today. I believe Luis Gill has looked pretty good. He looked pretty good today. I think he ended up striking out a lot of guys. So he had 8 strikeouts today through 5 innings. And I believe in his last start, I think he had like 6 or 7. Game log. So, yeah, he had 6 strikeouts against Baltimore. So he's been looking pretty good. So, yeah, good for them. Good for them for having a young guy stepping up, kind of like what Davy Garcia did for them last year. I mean, good thing for them because Davy Garcia has been awful down in the minor leagues this year. He is completely out of whack. So who knows if we're going to see Davy Garcia this year. Clark Schmidt is also on the way back soon. So Clark Schmidt has been saying in the last few days he feels like he's ready to come back to the major leagues. So his rehab assignment's been going very well. But Luis Gill, good for them for having him step up, unfortunately in a loss today. But for the Yankees on the year, the Yankees offense, that was kind of the question with this team. You know, the offense was a bit up and down, but they are 14th on the year on the starting pitching side. They are 4th in starting pitching on the year, and they have one of the best bullpens overall on the year. They're 2nd overall. Clay Holmes has been a very nice pickup for the Yankees, and we looked at when they got Clay Holmes, when they made that trade, a lot of people were thinking, huh? This guy has an ERA in the 5s, but if you were here on my channel, if you were watching the live stream that night, we looked at Clay Holmes, we looked at the advanced numbers, and we saw a pretty good picture. And with the Yankees, when you're going to a winning team, to me, when you got a guy with good advanced numbers on a bad team, and he comes over to a winning team, sounds like you might have some success, and he has been having a lot of success. So I thought that was a good move. The guy throws hard. He's got a hard sinker ball. I like that move overall, and he has been money for the Yankees. So he's been a nice addition to that bullpen. But for the Yankees in the past week, they're 6th in offense this past week. I mean, of course, you're going to be pretty high on the offense when you're scoring, 10 and 13 against the Orioles. So, but then they ran into, some pretty good starting pitching with the Mariners and a good bullpen from the Mariners this past week. And, they were able to put up a few runs and they were able to win 3 out of 4 overall. But, so the Yankees this past week, 6th in the offense in starting pitching. The Yankees starting pitching actually struggled this past week, at least when it came to the FIP, a 4.96 FIP. So the advanced numbers didn't like them very much this past week, but overall they had a 3.72 ERA. They were 2-1 on the week when it came to the starting pitching over 6 games. I don't think that counted today. I don't know if that counted today, but the bullpen, the Yankees bullpen continues to thrive. I mean, they're 2nd overall on the year, but this past week they're 2nd as well. So let me actually pull up the Yankees bullpen here. While that's loading, let's take a look at the Yankees upcoming week. So we have the Royals coming up here on the road, 3 games against them. Then that's weird. Why do you have the White Sox for a game and then you have a day off? Maybe they did that for TV ratings. That's kind of weird how you have a game and then you have a day off and then you have 2 more games. They must have done that for ratings. So I don't know, but kind of weird. I don't think I've ever. Oh, is that what it is? So that's when it is. Okay. Duh. It says Field of Dreams right there. I'm like thinking, why is there a day off right there? Yeah, I can't read, and I can't read the fine print. It says at Field of Dreams. Oh, that's going to be fun. I'm excited for that. I was wondering when that game was. So, hey, that'll be fun to watch. I'm excited for that. Cool. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, but, okay, that's loaded. So let's go take a look at this bullpen this past week. 2nd to the 8th. But here we go. And like I said, Clay Holmes, he's been the man in that bullpen. Overall, he is the leading wins above replacement leader for this past week. Albert Abreu's been really good out of that bullpen. Britton has been good. And here's another guy, Jolie Rodriguez. They've been using him a lot. Sure, the numbers don't look all that great, but the FIP looks pretty good, 2.89 FIP. But they've been utilizing him a lot. So, I mean, he's been pretty good here. Is it Lutge? I can never remember how to pronounce this name. Is it Lutge? Lutge? Luch? I can't remember. But Ridings, Loaisiga. Chapman also, you got to look out for Chapman. Chapman just went on the IL as well. So he's been having some elbow issues. But he had an MRI yesterday. No damage. So just wear and tear. So they're going to give him a bit of a breather. But I think overall for Chapman, it looked like he was doing better lately. But I think it would be probably good overall for him to kind of, take a bit of a seat. He's been having his ups and downs this year. maybe that's been a bit of an issue for him. Maybe the elbow's been kind of the problem. So maybe he's been kind of battling through that a little bit. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with him. But overall, the Yankees bullpen has looked really good. Again, Clay Holmes has been an awesome pickup for them. So good for them. But for the Yankees, we had them last week at a B+. I'm bumping the Yankees up to an A, just like the Blue Jays. Just like the Blue Jays. We're looking at an A for the New York Yankees. They've been playing great baseball. Again, we'll have to wait and see what they end up doing against the Royals and the White Sox this coming week. So, but that is that for the New York Yankees. Anyway, let's move on. Here we go. We have the Padres, 64-49. So, this Padres team, I don't know, man. It's such a weird team. It's a good team, but it's like you think they would be better. I feel like they just should be like 20 games over 500 right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that good of a team. Snell, though, today was fantastic. Struck out 13 guys over 7 innings. This is the Blake Snell that they've been waiting for. I mean, what has Blake Snell been doing this year? He's been just up and down all year. Granted, it is against the worst team in Major League Baseball this year, the Arizona Diamondbacks. But, hey, 13 strikeouts over 7 innings. That's good to see. But let's take a look at what they did this past week. So, they're 5-5 in their last 10. This past week, you split with the A's, and then you took 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks. So, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about this Padres team. I just feel like you should sweep this Diamondbacks series. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be losing, an 8-5 game against the Diamondbacks. I can understand maybe splitting with the A's because that's a pretty good team too. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. But the Padres, they are 11th in offense. They are 16th in starting pitching. That was one thing I really felt like they should have addressed at the deadline. I know they went after a Max Scherzer. It looked like they had a Max Scherzer, but, I just felt like they needed to add a starting pitcher there because, I don't know. But 7th in the bullpen this year, so that's a good sign. For this past week, they had the 8th best offense this past week. In the starting pitching, where are they at? 17th in starting pitching this past week. So they're going to have to, I don't think that includes Blake Snell today because I don't think Fangraphs is fully updated yet. But before that, they were 17th and 13th in the bullpen this past week. So, for the Padres, I want to actually just pull them up here. Padres. We are still over 400 strong in the chat. I really appreciate you guys staying out tonight. 10 o'clock as of right now here on the East Coast. But taking a look, you're basically running with 4 guys in the rotation right now. I'm guessing they're having an opener for they're having a bullpen day as of right now. So Dinelson Lamet is on the injured list. So he's having some inflammation lately. What's going on with him? Chris Paddock has an oblique problem going on right now. So what's going on with Lamet? He's going to throw live batting practice. So we could be seeing Lamet pretty soon. What's going on with Paddock? So he was throwing yesterday, but they don't have a timeline for him. A lot of guys with oblique stuff this year. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of oblique strains this year. But yeah, they're gonna need one of these guys to at least come back and start making their starts and giving some innings. So, but yeah, for the Padres, and then you got Fernando Tatis Jr. that's been down too. So let me actually pull up the Padres this past week in terms of offense. All right, 2nd to the 8th. So Trent Grisham has been awesome. Look at Trent Grisham. 500 average on the week. 17 plate appearances. Good grief. 500? Are you kidding me? Austin Nola with a 778 average this past week. Good grief. Adam Frazier has been really good. Manny Machado got himself a home run this past week. Couple RBIs. So you like to see it. They're having, some of these other guys here. Hosmer's been kind of just whatever. Ha-Seong Kim, man, you would like to see him start getting some more bat on the ball a little bit. Will Myers, not a great week. Jake Cronenworth, not a great week. So luckily they had these other guys stepping up for them. But this Padres team, it's an up and down team. It's an up and down team. But the starting pitching, they're lacking depth there. The bullpen, I feel like it's a good bullpen overall, but I don't think it's a dominant bullpen. But for the Padres last week, I had them as an A. So, I mean, you basically, I don't know. I just think right now, they just had, they won 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks, and you split with the A's. I don't think there's any reason to move the Padres right now. I think you got to keep them as an A. I still think they're a really good team. I know I may have sounded a bit negative there. I didn't mean to sound negative because I still think this is a really good team for the San Diego Padres. So, again, I had them as an A last week. I'm not going to move them right now. I'm not moving them. I'm just going to keep them at an A. I can see an argument for maybe a B+, but for now, I'll keep them as an A. So, in the end, you took 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks. Probably should have swept that series, but whatever. You won the series. So, an A right now. I feel like you're getting maybe, depending on what they do this coming week. So, you got a few games here against the Marlins, and then you got 4 more games against the Diamondbacks next week. This is going to be the only thing tough about this week that I see is you don't have any days off this week. So they haven't had a day off since Thursday. So in the end, they're going to be playing 10 straight games. In the end, they're going to be playing 13 straight games. Their next day off is on the 19th. So this is going to be a bit of a test here for the Padres, where no off days. This is going to be a bit of a grind for them. I mean, they're not playing bad teams. I mean, they're not playing good teams. They're playing the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, and the Rockies. But, I mean, you are going on the road for 7 games in a row. So it's going to be a bit of a tough stretch there, considering they're on the road. They're going to be traveling and whatnot. But, for the Padres, I'll keep them at an A right now. I'll keep them at an A. I still think it's a good team, but that's where I'm at with that. Anyway, moving on. Oh, here we go. Okay. 65-49 on the year for my Red Sox. But you know what? What's been going on lately, man? What are we doing? What are we doing for this Red Sox team? I'm trying to find the words for this week. I get it. We've had a couple of guys on the COVID list. We've had ups and downs of the starting pitching. The bullpen, it's had its moments. It just feels like one day the offense is good, and then they step up another day, but then the pitching falters, and then the pitching is good, but then the offense doesn't do anything. They had not a great week, a very up and down week with the offense. I mean, you lost 2 out of 3 to the Tigers. I mean, you lost 3 out of 4 to a very hot Blue Jays team right now. I don't know. I just need to say this right now. The one thing about today, and don't get me wrong, the Blue Jays, that team is good. It's a talented offense. I've said all year, there's a lot to like about this Blue Jays team. They're just finally starting to put it together now. But Matt Barnes, what are you doing today? What are we doing? And Plawecki. Okay, can I ask this? What do you do? Okay, so you throw 96, 97 mile an hour fastball right down the pipe. George Springer swings right through it. Strike 2. Can you please explain to me why you go with the same exact pitch in basically the same exact spot? Why are we doing that? With George Springer, one of the better bats in the game. Why are you challenging him 2 times in a row? I can understand, bringing the heat for him with one pitch. Don't come at him again on the very next pitch, and then he hits a tank shot into left field. Makes no sense to me. The only thing I could even think was he probably, you could go slider there, right? Or curve. Maybe he's expecting it. Who cares? You're going to throw him a fastball you're going to challenge him 2 times in a row? No, you don't do that with a George Springer. I don't know, whatever, Plawecki could have made that call, but Matt Barnes, you got to shrug that off. You don't throw 2 fastballs in a row to George Springer. You don't challenge the guy. And if you are going to throw a fastball to him, you better make sure it's on one of the corners or not right down the freaking middle. What are you doing? That was just one of the more stupid calls. I just couldn't believe that. That was the game. That was the game. When you call, I wouldn't have even called for a fastball in that spot. At least go with a curve on the next one, to kind of change the timing. He completely timed that fastball. When he swung through that first fastball, swung right through it, at that point, he timed it. He timed that fastball. And then you go at him again, and it was game over at that point. It's like you might as well go curveball in the next pitch. You're going to throw off his timing a little bit. I don't know. I didn't understand that call. That to me was just like, I had no idea what. Once I saw fastball called, I'm like, oh boy. I mean, you better hit your spot here, and he missed the spot. And that was the game. I don't know. We had, Sawamura today. He came out of the bullpen. He couldn't throw a strike. It looked like something was going on injury-wise with him. They came out to, visit him on the mound. I would have yanked him right there. When this guy threw, 3-4 pitches into the dirt, and they came out for the mound visit, Cora came out there checking on him. The trainers came out. I would have yanked him right there. I wouldn't have had him throw another pitch because, this guy's moving runners over at this point. No, get him out. I don't know, man. With this Blue Jays offense, you don't play around with an offense like that. You don't have Sawamura. If he's throwing, 3 pitches into the dirt, I'm not playing around with this Blue Jays offense. And I'm not playing around with a George Springer either, throwing fastballs 2 pitches in a row and challenging him. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know. Teams struggle. I get it. You have your ups and downs. We have a day off tomorrow. That's going to be a needed day off. That's going to be a very good day off for the Red Sox. But then you got a tough series with the Rays. So overall, the Red Sox, you won a couple games this past week, but overall for the Red Sox, last week I had them as an A. I'm bumping them down. The Red Sox are a B+ to me right now. They're just not playing good baseball. They're a B+, and until I start seeing some more winning baseball, they're not going to get back into the A's. So again, I think lesson learned here: you don't play around with a Blue Jays offense. You don't play around with it. That to me, I couldn't believe they made that call. I couldn't believe it. But, I've liked what I've seen overall from the Red Sox this year. Good news is they have Chris Sale coming back. He will be making his first start since having Tommy John. He'll be making his first start August 14th, next Saturday. So I am super excited about that. For the Red Sox, he'll be going up against the Orioles. So honestly, I think for a Chris Sale, it's Chris Sale at the end of the day, but I think for, your first start back, since being gone for over a year, I think that's a great first game to have back next Saturday against the Orioles. Not a great team by any means, not a great offense. You got a couple of guys that that'll challenge you a little bit. But I think for Chris Sale, I think that's going to be a nice first start back against the Orioles. And then for that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it looks like his next start's going to be against the Rangers after that. So, Chris Sale, that's definitely going to be a boost. Martin Perez just went to the bullpen as well. Martin Perez, I have never been a big fan of Martin Perez. I know he had some success this year, but the guy to me, I don't know. I've never been in love with a Martin Perez. I like him, but I'm not a big fan. I think he's, a back end guy. I think he's a long relief kind of a guy. He had success this year. He had some good starts this year, but I thought it was just a matter of time before teams figured him out. So anyway, but enough of me ranting here about the Red Sox. Overall, you did show some positive signs this past week. JD Martinez came back today, and he looked pretty good. But yeah, the pitching was just really up and down this week. Tanner Houck is going to have to start getting in some starts here. Again, Chris Sale coming back, that's going to be a boost. It will be a boost. But overall, they're just playing inconsistent baseball right now. Pitching is good one day, offense is bad. Next day, offense is good, pitching is bad. So And one more time, I will stress this. Do not mess around with a Blue Jays offense. You can't mess around with it. So that is that. For the Red Sox, moving down to a B+ for me as of right now. If they can get it together. They got a tough series against the Rays. You got a tough series with the Rays coming up. That's going to be a really important series. If we look at the standings as of right now, I mean, Tampa Bay has really widened the gap here. 4 games out, or 4 games ahead of the Red Sox now in the division. We'll get to the Rays here in a little bit, but the Rays are really they are increasing that lead. But this is going to be a big series. If the Red Sox can sweep that series, if they can get back on track, I mean, once again, you got a tight series yet again. So, and then the Yankees are red hot, the Blue Jays are red hot. So, this is going to be a big week for the American League East. Moving on. Here we go. We got Oakland 64-48. They've been playing great baseball lately. Starling Marte has been awesome for the A's. He's been a great pickup for them. I really hope Starling Marte. I hope Oakland ends up, re-signing him to a bit of an extension. I think that would be a nice addition. You did lose a Ramon Laureano. I thought that was really interesting. With the Ramon Laureano, you lost him to an 80-game suspension. Testing positive for nandrolone. I'll tell you right now, the viewers that are still here, whoa, we got $49, $50 super chat. Thank you, Athletics 510. Wow, $50 super chat. Wow, thank you very much, my friend. And hey, for you, my friend, you have had yourself a pretty fun time lately. The A's are playing extremely well. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 4 straight. So, hey, my friend, I appreciate that. Wow, you guys are going crazy with the super chats tonight. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, wow, $50 super chat. Crazy. I appreciate that. That completely threw me off. Anyway, but for Oakland, I was saying here, Ramon Laureano, that, testing positive for nandrolone, I know a lot of these guys like to come out and say, like, oh, I don't know how that got into my system. I don't know. I mean, some of my stuff must have been tainted. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been competing in powerlifting now for over 10 years. I've competed, for me, I am natural. I don't take anything. If I did take something, I would not care about telling people, but I don't take anything. And I mean, trust me, if you see me in real life, you will know I don't take anything. But I go to a powerlifting gym and I lift with guys who are openly on things. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you accidentally take nandrolone, or if you have it, if you basically, it is very hard to accidentally take nandrolone or to have any of your supplements be tainted with it. I'm going to tell you right now, Ramon Laureano is full of crap. I'm going to tell you that right now. I mean, I know a lot of people already probably thought that was baloney, but nandrolone is that is like, no, that's a hard one to test positive for. Like, you go out of your way to take nandrolone. So it's very, very, very difficult to test positive for that unless you're straight taking it. So, because that's a hard PED to get. So you have to go out of your way to get that. It's not like your whey protein from Vitamin Shop is going to have nandrolone in it. So I didn't buy that for a second, but it made me think. I kind of think here, maybe the A's had a bit of a heads up that a positive test was going to be coming. So maybe maybe that was the reason they went out and got a Starling Marte. I think it was a good addition anyway for them to go get him. But that made me kind of wonder if maybe there was a bit more motivation there to go out and get a guy like that. So that makes a lot of sense. But either way, it's been a great pickup for them. So let's take a look at the Oakland A's this past week. So here we go. I mean, look at Marte. He's been hot. He's on the front page of the A's website here. But this past week, so you split with the Padres and then you sweep the Rangers. So a good week for the A's. But let's see where they rank. They're 8th on offense for the year. They're 5th in starting pitching. And for the bullpen, they did need some help in that bullpen, but they're 17th. They did add an arm and an Andrew Chafin, so I thought that was a good move. But overall, this past week, they're third in offense. They are sixth in starting pitching, and the bullpen is seventh. So the bullpen has been stepping up for them. So really like what Oakland's doing. I actually want to take a look at the guys over in that bullpen. How is Chafin doing this past week? How have the rest of the guys been doing? But Chafin's been great. A couple innings this past week. Pettit's been solid. Trevino's been solid. Romo, has been solid. Hey, good week for the A's bullpen. And let me go take a look at that offense. How has Marte done this past week overall? I don't know if it's going to count today. Or that's the starting pitching. Whoopsie. Well, whatever. Let's look at starting pitching real quick. But Bassett's been really good. Montez was good this past week. Manaea had a bit of a tough start there, but Cole Irvin was good. So good for the starting pitching. And let's look at the offense. So the third in offense this past week. Let's pull this up. So Starling Marte leading the way this past week. 421 on the week, a 421 on base, a couple of home runs, 5 RBIs, a couple of stolen bases. So that move is really working out for them right now. I mean, you did have to give up a Jesus Luzardo, who was once a top prospect for you. He wasn't working out really with the A's, but and who knows? Maybe he ends up doing really well with the Marlins. You don't know. But Starling Marte, as of right now, he's playing extremely well. It would be nice if Oakland could re-sign him for a few years. I think that would be a nice contract. I don't think he's going to cost a ton of money. I could end up seeing him maybe get like 40, 50 million. I could see that. But it's been working out. It's definitely been paying off so far. For Oakland, last week, I had them as an A. I'm going to keep them as an A right now. I mean, they had a pretty solid week overall. You split with the Padres. You swept the Rangers. It's not a great team, the Rangers, by any means. So I want to see them, do this more against some more tough teams. You got a big White Sox series coming up in a couple of weeks, and you got the Giants coming up soon. So this next week, you got a few games against the Indians. You got a few more games against the Rangers. So they got a big stretch coming up here. They got tomorrow off, and then you got then you're not going to have off until the 25th. So you got some tough baseball coming up for Oakland, but I'm going to stand pat for Oakland right now. I'm going to keep them as an A for right now. A really solid team. But I'm not really seeing a reason to bump them up to an A+. Marte has been definitely great, but I'm going to keep him at an A for right now. I think that's fair. So moving on, we have the Chicago White Sox. Like I just mentioned, last week I had the White Sox as an A+. So for the White Sox this year, the one thing with the White Sox is they have just not done very well against teams over 500. If you take a look here, they're 14-21 against teams over 500. You would like to see that be a bit better, but this past week, so Eloy has come back and he had himself a pretty decent night against the Cubs. So he had a home run in the first inning there, had a 2-run double later on. But the White Sox, Eloy Jimenez is definitely a welcome addition for that White Sox lineup that could use some more power. But this past week, you did lose 2 out of 3 to the Royals, but then you did end up sweeping the Cubs. So the White Sox got back on track. You got a big series against the Yankees coming up, one of those games being the Field of Dreams game. So, I mean, you got a pretty easy series with the Twins coming up here. But for the White Sox, overall, you are 4th in offense on the year. You are 2nd in starting pitching, and you have the 5th best bullpen. Kimbrel had himself a heck of a time against the Cubs this past week. So, luckily for the White Sox, they were able to prevail in that game. But Craig Kimbrel, man, oh man, that was a bit of a scare, giving up a 3-run home run there. But let me actually go to the box score on that one. Kimbrel had that blown save. But yeah, that was a tough one for Kimbrel. But let me actually go to his game log. Did he pitch this past weekend? Game log. So But so yeah, after that, so he did pitch yesterday, had a clean inning against the Cubs. So, I mean, either way, Kimbrel is going to be huge for that bullpen. I mean, I know a lot of people, when that happened, I mean, that White Sox bullpen, just, it looks incredible. I want to actually go take a look at that bullpen because it's just so nasty looking at it. White Sox, where are you at? But one more time, before we move on, looking at the bullpen here. I mean, good grief. Hendricks, Kimbrel, Tepera, Kopech, Bummer, Crochet. I mean, that's just nasty. That's just so nasty. These guys have been crazy for that bullpen. But yeah, actually, real quick, so I did look here. The White Sox bullpen this past week, it's 20th on the week, but you got to also remember Kimbrel gave up a few runs there. So let me actually look at these guys besides Kimbrel. But yeah, Hendricks did well this past week. Bummer did well this past week. Kopech did okay this past week. Tepera had himself a good week. Again, it was Kimbrel there and then Jose Ruiz too. But Kimbrel had that big blow that, gave up that home run to the Cubs. But overall on the week, it was a good week for the bullpen besides that Kimbrel game. But the White Sox, Eloy Jimenez has been refreshing for that team. I think that was a nice pickup, or not a pickup, but coming back from the injured list for them. So definitely had himself a good game tonight. Where's the offense? Offense. So Chicago's offense this past week, they were 13th this past week. But let's take a look at some of these guys. But yeah, Cesar Hernandez has been pretty good for the White Sox since coming over. Jose Abreu's been hitting some bombs this week. Andrew Vaughn had himself a home run this week. Look at Andrew Vaughn hitting 308 this past week, a 438 on base. Eloy Jimenez had himself a home run tonight. So had himself a 2-run double as well. So Eloy Jimenez has been nice. But yeah, for the White Sox, it is what it is. The offense is solid. But starting pitching has been really good too. Gotta love this White Sox team. I think it's a really good team. I just really want them to start winning against good teams. I want to see, wins against, teams like the Yankees coming up. I want to see them win 3 out of 4 against the A's. I want to see them win 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays or the Rays, and then the Blue Jays too. You got some games coming up soon. You got, 3 against the Twins this week, but then you got the Yankees, then you got the A's, then you got the Rays, then you got the Blue Jays. So this is a stretch of baseball that's going to be kind of a prove-it stretch for the White Sox. You got a good team? Here are the good teams. Let's go win some games. So this is going to be big for the White Sox coming up this month. So, but for the White Sox, I'm still going to keep them at an A+. I mean, this team is just incredible. Again, I do want to start seeing them beat those good teams, but they have that team on paper. They got a team, they got a squad. So the White Sox keeping at an A+ for now. So for the Milwaukee Brewers, 66-46, you had a, pretty good series against the Giants this past week or weekend, losing 5-4 today. Believe the Giants yesterday ended up coming back to win that. Let me actually go to that box score yesterday. So, yeah, extra inning game. I mean, the Whites are did I just say what did I even just say? The Giants came back and won that one yesterday. So, an extra inning one. Jesus, this extra innings game was crazy. So, what was the score going into this? So, it was 2-1. So, yeah, the Giants tied it up in the 9th. And then you had 3 in the 10th there from the Giants, 3 from the Brewers to tie it back up. And then the Giants just exploded in the top of the 11th. So, and you got to also remember, too, this Milwaukee Brewers team, they have really good starting pitching. They lack a bit of depth in the bullpen. They got some pretty solid guys. They did add a John Curtis by the deadline. But besides Hader, a Devin Williams, and a Curtis, it is a little thin in that bullpen, and it definitely showed here against the Giants. So, I mean, that's a crazy game right there. Brewers lost that one, and then you lost again today, 5-4. You did win the first game, 2-1. So, a bit of a test against the Giants this past weekend. I mean, could you see these two teams go at it in the playoffs? It's definitely possible, but But, for the Brewers overall, you took 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. You probably should sweep that series, honestly. And then, you lost 2 out of 3 against the Giants. So it was a close game against the Giants, an extra inning heartbreaker. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you're going to lose series against good teams. Sometimes you're going to win series. So for the Brewers overall on the year, Milwaukee's offense has really been stepping up ever since they brought in a Willy Adames. They're 21st on the year. They were dead last at one point. The Brewers starting pitching is phenomenal. They are first overall. And for the bullpen, they're 14th. This past week, Milwaukee, the offense, they were only 20th this past week, so the offense definitely had its struggles. But we got a super chat coming in from Heems, Jake Cousins. Let me pull up Jake Cousins here in 1 second. But Milwaukee, good starting pitching this past week. And then the bullpen, they were 15th this past week. So let me go look up Jake Cousins. So Jake Cousins, what do we got? But yeah, Jake Cousins out of the bullpen has been just phenomenal. I mean, look at this. He has had 13 games. He hasn't given up 1 run. So he's been stepping up for the Brewers bullpen lately. So that's very nice to see. Let me actually pull up that Brewers bullpen. Again, that ERA this past week, it's high, but the FIP looks good. 3.54 FIP compared to that 6.27 ERA. So the bullpen this past week for the Brewers. Suter was great. So that's awesome. Then Devin Williams had himself a good week. Boxberger was good this past week. John Curtis has been a nice addition for that bullpen. And then he got Daniel Norris too, but he had a bit of a tough week this week. So what's going on with Cousins? Is he... Where is... Did he not pitch this past week? Is he hurt? So what's going on with him? Jake Cousins. Okay, he's been on the COVID list. Okay. So, but yeah, out of that bullpen, he's been really good for them. So, the Brewers have the pieces to get it done. They definitely missed him this past weekend. They probably could have used him out of the bullpen. But for the Brewers, last week, I had the Brewers as an A+. I think, I don't know. You know what I always like to do? I always like to get you guys involved. So let's see what you guys think. Do you guys think we should keep the Brewers as an A+, or do you think we should move the Brewers down to an A? Let's have you guys vote for this one. Let's see what you guys think. Meineke Man with an A+. Oh, yeah, I didn't see Hader on there. I did not see... Has Hader been out too? Tell me, this COVID, man, it's like... Man. Like, these guys are going on this, COVID list, and it's like... He hasn't pitched either. Yeah, he hasn't even been there. So, I'm seeing a lot of A's. I am seeing A+. Ooh, bit of a mix. I think for the Brewers, it was a tough series against the Giants. I don't know what I'm seeing more of. I feel like I'm seeing both an even amount of A's and A+. Man, this is going to be tough. Well, I would say for the Brewers, you went up against you had a test. You had a test in the Giants. And you lost. So I think for the Brewers, I'm gonna be tough. I'm gonna bump them down to an A. I'm gonna bump the Brewers down to an A. I'm just thinking, you know what? You had a good test there against the Giants, and you couldn't get it done. So I'm gonna bump them down to an A for this week. And maybe I'm being a little harsh, but it is what it is. I still think the Brewers are a really good team. Just because they're getting a bit of a bump doesn't necessarily mean I don't like this Brewers team. Just, you know what? I don't know. I think you had a test there against the Giants. You couldn't get it done. So down to an A for the Brewers for me. Moving on, we have the Houston Astros. So Houston Astros were number 1 on my power rankings last week. Is that going to stay the same? They haven't been playing all that great lately. They haven't been playing all that great. 4-6 in their last 10. You lost today to the Twins. Ooh, come on, Astros. What are we doing here? Come on, I had you guys as number 1 on my power rankings last week, and this is what you do to me. You did split with the Dodgers this past week, but then you lost 3 out of 4 to the Twins. I mean, what are we doing? Here we go. On the year, the Astros do have the best offense. Their starting pitching has been solid. They're 12th overall. And the bullpen, you did add some pieces. You're 15th overall on the year. But the Astros offense this past week, you are 14th on the week. For the starting pitching, Houston, you were 13th. And then the bullpen actually was really good this past week. 4th. I think for the Astros, I still think you're going to keep them. I'm still going to keep them at an A+, because they are a really good team. I mean, this is a really good team. You had a stinker of a series against the Twins, but you are in dangerous territory right now, Houston. If you have a bad week, we're going to, you've been playing just so good for the last, month or so. I'm not going to move you down just yet. I know what you're probably also thinking. I just moved the Brewers down, but the Astros to me are on a different level than the Brewers. I think this Astros offense is insane. The starting pitching, I like the starting pitching, and the bullpen got a lot better at the deadline. So the Astros to me, personally, I have them a bit ahead of the Brewers, but that's why I'm keeping the Astros here. I know you had a bad series against the Twins. I know that, but for the Astros here, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for 1 week. But if you don't step it up here against the Rockies and the Angels next week, well, we're gonna be in some trouble here. We're gonna be in some trouble. So, but yeah, for the Astros, gonna keep them at an A+, giving them the benefit of the doubt. But you're on thin ice, Houston. You're on thin ice. So A+ last week. I'll keep them at an A+, but one more bad week, you're going down. So moving on here, we have a few more teams. The Dodgers, the Rays, and the Giants. The Dodgers are starting to look a lot better lately. Max Scherzer was awesome for them. He was awesome. Trey Turner looked pretty good, playing in for the Dodgers this past weekend. Albert Pujols hit a tank shot today against the Angels, his old team. But the Dodgers are looking pretty good lately. They're looking pretty good. Maybe they're finally starting to put it together too. They've had a lot of guys on the injured list. Let me actually pull up the Dodgers here. So what are we looking at here? I mean, Bellinger is, I don't know what's going on with Cody Bellinger, man. Tough year for him. He's been having a tough year, I feel like, for a couple years now. What's going on with him? But looking at the Dodgers here. So you got Gavin Lux on the IL. In terms of pitchers, Danny Duffy, he could be back in September. Kershaw, what's the news on him? Kershaw, still experiencing soreness in his forearm as of a couple days ago. So they're gonna baby him. They're gonna give him some time. But for right now, that rotation is, you do have a Scherzer, but it is looking a little, it's lacking maybe a guy. I think they'll be able to get by. David Price has actually been pretty good lately, starting. So, they're just going to have to run a bullpen day one day. But Max Scherzer has been already quite the pickup for them. He had a good start the other night. I believe he had 7 innings. I think he struck out, 10? So, yeah, that was against Houston. He had 10 strikeouts over 7 innings. So, I think that's going to be huge, man. That's going to be huge, especially come playoff time. That's going to be massive, man. And then Trey Turner. So Trey Turner is back from the COVID list today. Went 1 for 3. So when did he come back? He came back the other night. So he pinch hit the other night, and then he went 1 for 4 last night, and then he went 1 for 3 today. So I had a stolen base today too. But yeah, I think that's what a trade that was, man, for the Dodgers. What a trade. But looking at the numbers, Dodgers are 3rd on the year in offense. They are 3rd in starting pitching, and they are 8th in the bullpen. The bullpen has been doing a lot better. Lately, the Dodgers, they are 12th in offense this past week. In starting pitching, where are you at? 14th this past week. And then the bullpen, only 22nd this past week. Really? That's kind of weird. I feel like the bullpen should be a little higher than that. Good numbers. 3.90 FIP. It's kind of weird how the Phillies, well, okay, they haven't thrown a lot of innings out of the bullpen. So that's definitely something to consider because they have a 2.34 xFIP. So just not a lot of innings from them. But, I mean, the Dodgers, they're clearly one of the best teams in the game. So last week I had them as an A+. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. They're still an A+ to me. So the Dodgers, I mean, getting a Max Scherzer already showing, and not even just having a good start the other night, having a good start against the best offense in the game. So that was huge for them. That was huge. But for the Dodgers, A+. Moving on, here we go. The Tampa Bay Rays, another red-hot team. We have a lot of red-hot teams lately. Tampa Bay taking care of business against the Orioles this past weekend, like you should. But Tampa Bay, they are just firing on all cylinders. They got some guys that are injured lately. They got some guys on COVID list. But you did lose 2 out of 3 to the Mariners this past weekend, or the beginning of the week. But then you swept the Orioles this weekend. I mean, you scored 22, 31 runs against the Orioles this past weekend. I mean, what more could you want right there? That offense is clicking. On the year, Tampa Bay, they are 5th in offense. You know, I just saw Tampa Bay in person last week. Oh my God, the amount of good contact that they made against my Red Sox last week was so insane. 15th on the year in starting pitching. You know, losing Tyler Glasnow, man, that's tough. But first in the bullpen, so you're always going to have that with the Tampa Bay bullpen. But Tampa Bay this past week, they were 5th in offense. The starting pitching, they were 18th in starting pitching. But the bullpen, they were 11th. So, you know, that's Tampa Bay. That's basically what you're going to get. You're going to get a relentless offense. You're going to get some okay starting pitching, and then the bullpen, you're going to get a really solid bullpen. But I want to take a look at that bullpen this past week. I want to take a look at the offense this past week too. So who are these guys that are stepping up for them? Let's look at the offense first. Here we go. So Randy Arozarena has been having himself a rather good week, hitting .636 on the week. Manuel Margot hitting .500 this past week. Look at Kevin Kiermaier hitting .333. Nelson Cruz hitting a couple of home runs. I love that move. I love the Nelson Cruz move. I thought that was just so good. Zanino doing okay. Jordan Luplo's, in a few at-bats this past week, getting some hits this past week. Wander Franco, they're going to keep giving this guy at-bats. And they're gonna keep pushing this guy, So, I mean, he actually had a good series against the Orioles. He was 3 for 10 this past weekend. He had 3 RBIs. He had a home run. Let me actually go to the game log here for Wander Franco. They're going to keep giving this guy at bats to try and figure it out. This guy's too talented. But, yeah, he had a good series against the Orioles this past weekend. It doesn't have today's game on here, but game 1, he was 2 for 5. Game 2, he was 1 for 5. Had a home run last night, so... Hey, Wander Franco, this guy is going to be a star, man. I know he's not really showing it. He's been hitting a lot better. His average is up to 248 on the year. He's been getting a lot more hits. I mean, go back to right around the trade deadline. 2 for 4. 2 for 4. 2 for 4. He was killing my Red Sox in that series. But, Wander Franco, just give this guy some time. He's going to get it. He's going to figure this out. He's going to start putting up some really good numbers, man. Wander Franco, insane. But Tampa Bay, the offense has been really good. Let's take a look at the bullpen. So I believe Colin McHugh. Let me actually pull up Tampa's. Let me pull up their depth chart here. So who do they got here on the IL right now? So on the IL, are these? Okay, so right now you got a Rosarina on the COVID list. So he was having a good week until having to go on the list. But then, what's going on with Chris Archer? Is he even coming back this year? Throwing a bullpen on Monday, so Chris Archer's still kind of hanging around. Too bad you lost Tyler Glasnow, man. That's tough to see. But where is the... I thought they had a couple more guys on the COVID list. Or no, I guess not. But look at all these injuries, man. A lot of injuries. Remember Nick Anderson? Jalen Peaks? But they're getting a lot of guys going down lately. They had Jeffrey Springs. I was at that game when he sprained his knee. So that didn't look very fun. But, right. And they got a lot of guys here. I mean, they lost Colin Poche to... Or no, that was last year. Jesus, I thought they said 21. But what else is going on here? So Pete Fairbanks, shoulder inflammation. What else here? So Ryan Thompson's been gone for a while. Yeah, I mean, look at all these injuries, man. Crazy. And then a Rosarina. So he's going to be back soon, I would think. What is it, 10 days? So... a Rosarina could be ready to return from the COVID-19 list as soon as Tuesday. So, all right. But hopefully he can come back for them. Hopefully for my Red Sox, he can stay away. But yeah, this Rays team, it's just a really solid team. I mean, taking a look one more time. I mean, you did lose 2 out of 3 to the Mariners, but you came back in a big way against the Orioles this past weekend. So for the Rays, I still think they're one of the best teams in the game. This Rays team, they're just on fire. They're just on fire lately. They're just winning. And besides that Mariners series, they were playing really good. I mean, they swept my Red Sox in the series, in the weekend series right before the Mariners. And then you just exploded against the Orioles this past weekend. So big series for the Rays and my Red Sox coming up this week. Those are going to be 3 pivotal games. You could either... If you can go 2 different ways here. If the Red Sox sweep, now that division is separated by 1 game. Or if the Rays sweep this series, well, now that division is just completely, the Rays are in complete control. So this is a big series coming up. Both teams really need to sweep that series. So that's going to be big. But big week coming up for the Rays and the Red Sox. But for my power rankings, an A+. A+ for me for the Rays. So last but not least, we have made it all the way to the San Francisco Giants. I mean, they were the first team to 70 wins on the year. They are just looking really good. I mean, what a series this weekend against the Milwaukee Brewers. They really took it to a good team. But the Brewers, their pitching is so good, but the Giants were able to find a way to get it done. Let's take a look here. Let me close out some of these tabs. But for the Giants on the year, they are 6th in offense this past year. You just added a Chris Bryant as well, so that's been a nice addition. You are 7th in starting pitching. And for the bullpen, that's the one thing with the Giants, but the bullpen lately has been phenomenal. I've said this quite a few times. A shaky start for the Giants, but... they have just been so good lately. And then this past week, the Giants in the offense, you were only 17th this past week, but whatever. You're still winning games this past week. And then for the starting pitching, you were 10th in starting pitching this past week. And then the bullpen, 14th in the bullpen this past week. So let's go show some love. Let's go take a look at the Giants. What have they been doing in the offense this past week? Kind of want to actually take a look at Chris Bryant's numbers this past week. So Chris Bryant, he's been awesome for the Giants. 409 this past week, a 480 on base. He's been great. Donovan Solano's been hitting the heck out of the ball this week. Brandon Belt, he came back this week and he was injured, right? I believe Brandon Belt was injured. Was he hurt? Or am I thinking of someone else? Or was he on the... Yeah, he was hurt. So he came back and already providing an impact. 1 for 4, and then 2 for 6 yesterday. And I believe he had a good game today. That's one thing about Fangraphs. They do great work, but I wish they just updated a little quicker. Brandon Belt, that is a show it. Here, let's go to the box score today. Let's see what they did today. 5-4 win. And again, this one kind of went late. It was a close game. Giants pulling away there in the top of the 8th. But looking at the box score today, did Belt play today? Or he pinch hit? He had a home run in the 7th. That was right. I was like, I knew I read something about Belt today. But, yeah, he's come back from injury, and he's been really good. So, Ruff had a pretty good day today. 1 for 3 RBI there. A couple of walks. Crawford had himself a good day. 2 for 3. La Stella had a pinch hit there. What else we got? Slater, 1 for 5. Bryant hitless today, but he did score a run there. So, but Bryant has been just phenomenal for the Giants. I mean, one more time, taking a look at the numbers. Chris Bryant this week, holy cow, 409 coming into today and a 480 on base, insane. And then he had the home run in his first game for the Giants last weekend. So, let's take a look at the starting pitching. What have they been doing? So, the starting pitching this past week. Here we go. So, Gausman, a good start this past week. Cueto, he did take the loss, but not a bad start by any means. Logan Webb had himself a good start this week. Alex Wood, only 4 innings, gave up a couple of runs there. Sanchez, couple innings there. So, I mean, really, Gausman continues to be the star of the show for the Giants. Really excited to see what Kevin Gausman can do in the playoffs, man. He's been having just a great year. 2.31 ERA, 2.90 FIP. I mean, he's 10-5 on the year. He's been phenomenal. So, and for the bullpen, let's take a look at the bullpen. The bullpen is 14th this past week. So, let's pull up the numbers. But Jake McGee, solid. Jose Alvarez, solid. Tony Watson, solid. Jay Jackson, 4 2/3 innings. I don't know, did he pitch today? So you had Alvarez, Watson, and is it Lytle? Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But they pitched today, so he didn't pitch today. But not a great week by any means. But the one thing, Giants fans, I know the ERA may look a little high this past week for Jay Jackson, but the FIP is really good. A 1 point, is it Littell? Oh, thank you, Tyler. 1.88 FIP for Jay Jackson there. So, keep him, be mindful about that. I know the ERA doesn't look all that great, but FIP looks pretty good. So, Tyler Rogers, solid this past week. Littell, good. So, hey, good guys in the bullpen this past week. Leon and Sanchez had a few innings out of the bullpen this past week. So, the Giants are just looking really solid across the board. Let me go back to their schedule, actually. What did they do this past week? And again, you won the series against a good Brewers team, and, that's what you got to do. And that's one thing about the Giants that's really good is they play really well against teams that are over 500. They're 33-21. I'm not sure if you can see it. Can you guys see it? Yeah, so 33-21 against teams over 500. So they're not just winning games, but they're winning games against good teams. So the Giants, so you took 3 out of 4 against the Diamondbacks, taking care of business there. So you won a series against a bad team, and you won a series against one of the better teams. So the Giants, there's no question, easily an A+. But where are the Giants going to fall on my power rankings? So I know we're done with grading the teams for this week. I know we took a bit of time this week to get here, but here we are. Let's go into my top 10. So last week, Giants fans, I think you wanted to chase after me with a pitchfork last week because I put you guys at number 2. But, I stuck to my guns, and I stuck with the Astros at number 1. But this week is a different story. This is a different story this week. Where are the Giants going to fall? So let's take a look. All right, so at number 10, I got to put the Giants at number. I'm just kidding. Calm down. Calm down. I'm not putting the Giants at number 10. But coming in at number 10, we're going to have a bit of movement here. We're going to have a couple of new teams. Jump into the top 10 here. So one more time, we had the Mets last week at number 10. They are going to fall out of the top 10 here. We have other teams too. I think the Red Sox. I think I'm going to take my Red Sox out. Of my top 10. I hate to do that, but you know what? You guys know me. I may show my giraffe neck Robbie sometimes, but I got to, what's real is real. My Red Sox are not a top 10 team right now. They have been playing bad. The Mets have been playing bad. They're out of there. So let's add a couple of new teams here. Personally, so let me actually go back here. I always like to refer to this. You know what? I think the Phillies are a B-plus team for this week. If they have another good week, they could end up being an A. We'll have to see how good they play this week. Are we lagging here? I am lagging. It says I'm offline. Uh-oh. We are lagging here, everyone. Are we here? Okay, everyone. It looks like we had some lag. Looks like we're good. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if we're good. Just making sure. We did lose a few people there. All right, looks like we're good. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. So I believe the Phillies, I think they have played their way into my top 10. I think that they've just had a phenomenal week. They just played some really good baseball. Bryce Harper was phenomenal this past week. Other guys stepping up for the Phillies this week. I think for the Phillies, they have earned a top 10 spot for this week's Power Rankings. So let's move on to number 9. I think another team, a new team into my top 10. I think the Yankees deserve to make the top 10 this week. I'm going to put the Yankees at number 9. Just getting Rizzo, getting Gallo completely just turned things around for them. They just look like a different team, and they look like they're having fun. That's the one thing about the Yankees, man. Rizzo, I think, was a big addition for them because that's just such a good clubhouse guy. And, I just really like what the Yankees did this past week. So I'm going to put the Yankees at number 9. So last week, I had the A's at number 9. They are going to get a bump to number 8. I believe the A's, they continue to play really solid baseball. Marte has been phenomenal, a phenomenal pickup for them, especially with Laureano going onto the suspended list. So Marte has been a very nice pickup. They've been having guys stepping up left and right. And so I'm going to put the A's at number 8. This team has just been, I completely forgot about this one team. I completely forgot. I think I got to put the Blue Jays here. I think I got to put this Blue Jays team here. Where am I going to put them? Where am I going to put the Blue Jays? I can't put them ahead of the A's right now. I cannot put them ahead of the A's. I want to put the Blue Jays here, though. Are they there yet? Are the Blue Jays quite there yet? Let's see. Man, well, if I put the Blue Jays here, well, then one team is going to have to leave. But then, I don't know. If there was another team to take out of the top 10, it would be the Padres. That's the only team I would take out. But I don't know if I'm ready to take the Padres out right now. Tough. Oh, man, I really want to put Philly in here. Oh, I thought I had this completely set in my head. And now I'm just like, oh, wait, I completely forgot about the Blue Jays. Man. You know what? Can I maybe bend the rules a little bit? Can I have a tie? Can I put the Phillies and the Blue Jays tied for the 10 spot? Can I do that? I don't know. I'm keeping the Yankees ahead slightly. You know, they got that slight edge right now. And then there's Cincinnati too. Oh man, this is tough. This is tough. Wow. I thought I had this in my head and I completely forgot about a couple of teams. Okay, you know what? I might have to backtrack here. I think... All right. You know what? Philly, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Philly out right now. Just right now. Man, I really wanted to put them in my top 10 because they have been playing great baseball. But I think for the Blue Jays, I think the Blue Jays, they're just playing really good, man. I got to put them there. The way they looked against my Red Sox, I got to put the Blue Jays at number 10. I'm going to put the Yankees at number 9. I'm going to put the A's at number 8. The Phillies are right there. They're close. Not quite. Man, I really wanted to put them there. I completely went blank on the Blue Jays there for a second. But here we go. That's what we're doing. We're going to do Blue Jays number 10, Yankees at number 9, A's at number 8. So, you know what? Actually, I might even move the A's up a little bit. I don't know. Do I want to maybe bump the A's even up a little bit more? I think I might even bump the A's up a little bit more. They've been playing really good. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go Padres at number 8. And I'm going to go A's at number 7. I think the A's are playing great baseball lately. Playing really good. Marte's been really good. I feel like the Padres are kind of just like, you know? So I'm gonna go there. I think we're on track now. We're on track. Here we go. Blue Jays number 10, Yankees at number 9, Padres at number 8, A's at number 7. So who comes in at number 6? So I think the Brewers. Am I leaving out a team? I think the Brewers probably go there, right? Yeah, I'll put the Brewers here at number 6. Here we go. I'll put the Brewers at number 6. Tough series against the Giants there. Tough series. So, I think the Brewers, they still looked pretty decent. But, I think for now, they're not in the top 5 for me. So, number 6 for the Milwaukee Brewers. Here we go. So, last week, my top 5, I had the White Sox, the Rays, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Astros. So, okay, so these teams are going to stay in the top 5 for me, personally. Coming in at number 5, you know what? I'm going to do the San Francisco Giants. I'm kidding. I'm not putting the Giants at number 5. Calm down. Don't attack me. So, coming in at number 5, I'm going to do... I'll stick with the White Sox at number 5. I think that sounds fair. I think the White Sox, not really too much movement there. I'll go White Sox at number 5. Last week, I kind of want to give the Rays a bump. I want to give the Rays a bit of a bump. I just like what the Rays are doing. I know they lost 2 out of 3 there to the, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Mariners there. But they tore apart the Orioles, man. I just like the Rays. Something about this Rays team I really like. I really like this Rays team. So I think I'm going to bump them up a little bit. So what's going to end up happening here is because of some of these teams moving up, I'm actually going to be moving the Astros down. I mean, you lost 3 out of 4 to the Twins. I'm going to go Astros at number 4. For right now, that was a bad series against the Twins there. I mean, you did split with the Dodgers, but I'm going to go Astros at number 4 for right now. Coming in at number 3, I'm going to go with the Rays. I'm going to go with the Rays at number 3. I think they're the better team in the American League right now. They're just finding ways to win. And they're just so relentless. That offense has been really good. Wander Franco's been heating up a lot lately. They've been having a lot of guys stepping up. Randy Arozarena was heating up. So I like the Rays at number 3 for me personally. The starting pitching, it is what it is. As long as these guys can keep making their starts and have that bullpen, turn it around. Or not turn it around, but keep it going, doing what they're doing. To me, the Rays, they're just such a dangerous team. Coming in, so we're down to the Dodgers and the Giants. Giants and the Dodgers. I mean, I don't know, man. This is pretty tough. Giants fans, I got to be honest with you. Here. I got to put the Giants at number 2. I'm just kidding. I'm going with the Dodgers at number 2. While the Dodgers definitely got stronger at the deadline, Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. I really like this Dodgers team. I think they're dangerous. They got a lot of star power, and we're going to have to wait and see what they end up doing in the playoffs. But for right now, I just think, the one big difference with me with the Giants and the Dodgers is the Dodgers. Let me actually pull this up here really quick. The 2021 Dodgers. And let me pull up the 2021 Giants. So the big difference here, if we're looking at the schedule or just like a breakdown of their schedule this past year. So the Dodgers, they are in one-run games, they are 13-20. That's not good. But the Giants, let me go to theirs. The Giants they're better in one-run games. They're 17-14. Again, while the Dodgers are 13-20. So for the Dodgers, what was the other one? Teams that are 500 or more. The Giants are 33-21. While the Dodgers are only 26-30. So I think both teams are really good. I just think the Giants, they've been getting it done more. And sure, you can look at the run differential. The Dodgers have scored, 41 more runs. But the Giants have just gotten it done against good teams. And to me, I just feel like right now, I just personally feel like the Giants, while the Dodgers, you could say, have more talent, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I mean, you kind of have to be real here. That team is just ridiculous. That payroll is through the roof. You got stars all over that Dodgers team, but the big difference is the Giants have been just simply playing winning baseball this year all the time against all opponents. They have been consistent. And one other thing I want to point out with the San Francisco Giants is, it's a really funny thing with the Giants. Their longest winning streak is only 5 games this year. So they have the most wins in Major League Baseball. And their longest win streak is only 5 games. So that tells me just how consistent this Giants team has been. So, while the Dodgers, their longest winning streak is 9 games. So to me, one more time, the Giants have the most wins in Major League Baseball, and their longest win streak is only 5 games. So that just shows, hey, they're really consistent. And even when they lose a game here and there, they can just bounce right back. So I like the Giants. I really like the Giants this year. And to me, that series against the Brewers, I was kind of waiting for that series. I wanted to see what they would do. And you know what? They looked great. They came out and they won in extra innings. They had just a ridiculous game against the Brewers on Saturday night. And they won the series. They won 2 out of 3 against a really good Milwaukee Brewers team. So those are my power rankings for this week. So let's go over here. The Giants at number 1, the Dodgers at number 2, the Rays at number 3, the Astros at number 4, the White Sox at number 5, the Brewers at number 6, the A's at number 7, the Padres at number 8, the Yankees, the newest addition to the top 10, are at number 9, and the Blue Jays are at number 10. So, Giants fans, I hope you don't hate me this week. Hope I get some nice comments this week. I know I made you guys a little upset last week, but that just goes to show I don't like to just hot potato, my power rankings all the time. So, I've liked the Giants all year, but, I had to see one more series against the Brewers, and they really showed me they're a good team. They're a really good team. So, I would love to put the Phillies here. I did have the Phillies here when I first started the top 10 tonight. But I don't know how I forgot about the Blue Jays, considering we just got our heinies kicked by the Blue Jays this past weekend. But the Phillies, they're right there. They're right there at number 11 for me. So it's going to be interesting to see how these turn out next week. So everyone, that is all I have for tonight. I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. We had a pretty long show, about, almost 2.5 hours tonight. So again, I just want to say I appreciate you guys coming out here and talking some baseball with me tonight. So one more time, if you are new, hit that subscribe button for me. Hit that like button for me, guys, before you get out of here. If you can, share the stream. Share the channel with other people. We're trying to get to 13,000 subscribers. But everyone, that's all I have for tonight. I want to wish you all a good week coming up. And but yeah, that's all I have for tonight, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. Have yourself a good night. Have yourself a good week. And I'll talk to you next time.